it might be worth a bit of a nod, I would say, at this point.
I would agree. I also like...
Hey!
Yeah, it's going to be the first ban.
Right.
Aiming is a self-proclaimed best Ezreal in the LCK, by the way, if we remember back to a little while ago. He did, in fact, say that. It's them that are going to ban it away, though, because first pick priority does go... Oh, never mind. Actually, Hanj and Brion have second pick. That's what they decided to use their right of first selection for. So a very interesting maneuver here, trying to get themselves counterpick for casting, perhaps, or something like that, making sure that their lanes are in order. Lock going to be their only ban so far, as the Orianna will follow. And will it just be Vi and then Jace, which would be the most standard we could get here?
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. You can throw some wrenches to the gear if you ban like a Lee Sin, which we have seen both of these players, Willer and Gideon, but especially Gideon, be very proficient on. And final ban, I think, will probably be the Vi. Just, especially with the Lee Sin also banned, just feels like the stocks go up.
I would agree.
I mean, you can still play Jarvan. There's a lot you can play in this meta for sure, but I don't think you need to ban Cassiopeia away from UCal in this situation as a potential first pick. They will, I think, spend a lot of time thinking about what the responses will be to what is picked here as they ban the Vi. I think they were almost certainly going to lock that one away.
Okay, so first pick priority. What is it going to be? Cassiopeia. This is a very popular one that we did see throughout the Kesper Cup, is just locking this away, threatening a flex between UCal and aiming, I guess, in this case.
Are we done with flexing?
No.
I start to wonder if we are. You know, it's just not working. Camille Jarvan, wow, a lot of setup here, and it also links into a potential Roamer Syndra pick here into the Cassiopeia.
Or a Ziggs for Teddy, perhaps, if you would like to go that route. There are a lot of things that you can pair alongside this Camille. It could work very, very well.
See what the response to this Jarvan pick is going to be. It could just be the Xin, as that's very common. Nefiri is one of the favorites right now with the Cassiopeia.
Yep, especially for Willer as well.
Yeah.
The Shen, another big one, into the Camille.
Yeah,
a lot of people have been going towards.
That's really the main pick I'm expecting to see here, or was expecting to see. We've already seen the Nefiri. Leona has been a counter pick as well, but not as common, not as strong with the matchup, and with Shen still available, and the ability to still technically flex it, makes it a pretty appealing one here for Andil to lock down. Bard and Nautilus are also up. Those are the two other picks that you could consider. They do go for the Nautilus, so with the Nefiri Nautilus, you have a lot of single target blow up, a really punishing draft into a Camille engage that goes wrong, you know, where she's not linked with the rest of the team. Very easy to blow her up.
Yeah, I'm a little bit perplexed, though, because now it's a very free Syndra pickup, and you've already shown your support. Counterpick for support has been pretty popular here. And I guess, I mean, Hanj and Brion will be able to answer this Nautilus when they come out of this next ban phase, but they can ban a couple of things away to try and shore up this Nautilus pick for Andil. I just don't know whether it was necessarily under that much threat of being banned, whether it feels like a checkmate as far as the answer to the Camille is concerned. And I say counterpicked away, I mean the Camille's already locked in, so that's a little bit silly. Still looking towards the top side of the map, as the Cassante is going to be banned here by the Bros.
All right. See what the next response is going to be here, because it's tough to know 100% that this Syndra is going to the mid lane. I think it will. Teddy's been a bit of a Syndra bot lane enjoyer in the past as well, actually, even in metas that weren't like this.
Yep.
He's one of the players who's played Cassiopeia bot lane this year, so it's tough to judge. So instead of putting the focus on the top lane makes a lot of sense here. And for the Cassante ban, I think a Jace response also makes sense. See what the last ban will be here. Ambessa is incredibly good with Hanjit's comp. I think you've got to ban that if you're QM here, as they just have so, like, it can go Ambessa Jhin and be like, I have the greatest Jhin comp that is ever Jhin.
Yeah, very true. And I actually think the Ambessa will be able to help shore up some of the lack of damage a Jhin would provide for the team. The Zig's going to be taken away from Teddy, would have been another decent option. As we mentioned before, Cataclysm plus Hextech Ultimatum.
I think you go Ambessa, Blind,
oh,
and then
no,
you
the
get
Renekton.
Jhin.
The Renekton makes it a little bit more difficult. And this will mean that Teddy needs to play Jhin, because otherwise there's way too much magic damage coming out of this squad.
Yeah, unless Roamer's going to play like Tristana mid or something like that. They want the Rumble here, blind. I feel like it's a pick that maybe kind of punishable. Yes, Renekton's good into the Ambessa, but it's not a hard punish. Let's see what the answer is going to be here to this Rumble now. They'll take the Jhin themselves.
And I think it's a really smart idea because, like you said, the Jhin fit the Brionne composition so well, you can just pick that one away.
They're like, we got Ambassador Jhin. Joke's on you, bro.
Hey, I get it, because it's bro and then it's also bro. Makes sense. The Ambassador will round out the composition. Frog did play this in their previous series. It looked all right. Wow.
Kalista
this would
Camille would be
so fun.
It is very fun, and I think it's very strong. But Corki, a little bit more safe.
It's less fun.
I've going to be the opt-in.
Yeah, I've been thinking about the old Kalista-Camille combo with Camille coming into the meta just because she does feel a whole lot safer when you can be Fate's called away, but not going to be happening this time.
It's kind of awkward into Miasma, into Nautilus. You know, very difficult to necessarily follow up the way you want to. Corki's going to be able to operate a little bit further back, follow up a little bit easier than the Kalista. Obviously, Camille can change the equation for Kalista quite a bit, whereas those defensive tools won't necessarily get to be used because the Camille's flying through at light speed. But I like the draft here of both teams. I think when you look at Ambessa Jhin with any sort of setup, the Nautilus being the case for QMDRX, it's incredibly powerful. Even though Ambessa's win rate was down at like 24%, that's for LCK on the year. Definitely looking a lot better post-MSI right now. On the other side of things, though, you know, this Corki composition with a lot of Syndra setup feels really good as well for the side of Hanji and Brionne. I think this is a pretty even draft, all things considered. It's going to come down to form on the day. Says, I brought my mom. And fighting to Teddy.
Yeah. I like how they were getting in on the hide behind the sign meta as well. Really acclimatizing. It's absolutely beautiful. Both of these drafts, if you guys were watching the previous series, which I assume you were, I think this is going to be a lot more explosive out of our two Rise Group teams. I'm expecting more shenanigans. Let's get onto the Rift and see what it's going to be. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 1. KMDRX versus Hanji and Brionne. And the KRX fan chant was all over the place, Wolf. I'm hoping they tidy it up moving towards game number 2. I think that will really help the team stay more coordinated.
There were a ton of... So when we came into the... Speaking of the audience, when we came into the audience, which was the first audience here locally in Law Park because the other match wasn't being played here, it was in Kintex, I heard a lot of English, okay? I heard a lot of English, and then I was like, oh, of course, because it's Bro playing. And I think there's even some Bro fans on the QM side, as we do have Namgung taking a little bit of damage here. Yeah. But again, always important to remember that not only do Bro have a lot of foreign fans, but QMDRX, because of their incredible Cinderella story in 2022, which did take place in the United States, also have a lot of Western fans as well.
Yep, it's true. And this team has been around for a long time as well, you know, even back when they were DRX before picking up that world title. Had a lot of fans because of, you know, Deft and Chovy and so many of these greats that have played for the organization in the past.
Also, the old name, Kingzone Dragon X, was just pretty appealing.
Yeah, it was. Even Longzhu was kind of cool, you know. There was a lot of cool stuff with this all dating back throughout all of the different iterations. But still, we digress. They do have a slight gold advantage here at the beginning of this one because Aiming and Andal are able to get the shove on this wave. And nice scatter here from Roamer, actually, onto Yukal. We'll be able to win out on that trade quite nicely. We're expecting the Syndra to have a pretty good time into the Cassiopeia. It was a counterpick opportunity here for Roamer. He did elect to go for the Syndra in that case.
I think it's a really fun test because this is the second time we've seen an 80 carry swap, a trade, this season, and like the second time we've had it this season, on top of like never having it basically in any memorable time before ever in LCK history, and both of them being related to some sort of internal team dispute, meaning that Aiming doesn't really, at least from what we know, or what we can assume reasonably, have a ton of scrim time with this roster, right? Like, Gio was playing in Kespa Cup very recently, and now we know why Fenrir was playing in Kespa Cup when KT was otherwise fielding the whole roster. But, like, how well can he synergize with his team, with Frog also playing here versus Bro, who've been playing this whole roster all year, is a really big question. So we won't really have a question about whether Romer will have to flash or not, because he's positioned incredibly well here, and Andil can't actually close the gap there. So yeah. I just think it's fun. Like, you know, Aiming's put in this incredibly weird situation. Like, how well does he adapt? Like, this is where you're going to find out, because we often say AD carries are a role where your team sets you up for success. You know, and you have, you know, your positioning and how when you go in is part of the skill set, but
you're largely a tool.
Yeah, you can't do it alone.
Yeah, you're often used by the rest of your team in order to get the victories, to do the big damage. But like you say, you have to be on the same page. And it's interesting that you talk about sort of the Diablo-Taeun trade, because that didn't go the way a lot of us expected, right? With Diablo being considered the stronger mechanical player, but not finding nearly the amount of success that Taeun found after that trade came through, as Andil not going to quite find the anchor there towards the Bros. Teddy and Namgung will be able to get this wave shoved back towards KRX. So they'll have a slight gold lead as a result, but that will be equalized as these waves are going to equalize. So things very, very even at this stage. And yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot over the next few days based on how Aiming is going to perform, whether Gio is going to perform, because Fenrir looked great.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Earlier on.
It's a trade between, the other trade was between two star players, and this was between a substitute player, effectively, and KT's star players. So, well, one of them. Obviously, I have quite a few on that roster. BD, was Player of the Year last year, so not quite the same level of stardom, but obviously AD carry, very important role, and Aiming was arguably one of the best performers in round 2 as KT were struggling. And I just bring up all this narrative because it's a pretty quiet early game here. A lot of farming, a lot of small advantages, no dragon take just yet.
Yeah, and I guess we can talk a little bit about how these compositions are going to work, because they are, once again, 2 comps that do have 80 carries, but one of those 80 carries is a Jhin. And I feel like Jhin plays like halfway between, you know, your traditional 80 carries and a mage.
Yeah.
You know, where you're not doing the same level of consistent DPS, but there is boom boom there in the opening salvo, and the setup is also pretty fantastic. But you do require the rest of the team to set up for you and to give you those opportunities to get those snipes.
It's so interesting in the deeper narrative of Aiming playing on this roster, because he's playing Jhin where your agency level is quite low. There's a high skill ceiling, as Yukal is going to find out about as well here with this matchup into the Syndra.
Yeah, Gideon comes on over as Willa will be able to deny Namgung's wall dive, and that will be the end of that.
It's kind of like a philosophical question as, okay, Yukal, he's just setting it up.
Finds the ulti, there's the anchor. Cataclysm does go down as Gideon flashes away, he's drinking the potion, and the poison's ticking down, but it's not going to get him. Namgung not going to go for the flash over the wall, as Gideon, can he escape? Can he get the execute?
I think so.
And it looks like the answer is...
Oh!
Yeah, Yukal.
That poison just stays so long.
I would have thought that it was going to be the execute, but yeah, it is hard to factor in that extra few ticks of the poison. And so Yukal kind of getting bailed out here as he was suffering in this lane.
Yeah, that's a lot of money going over to him. All right, well, that was a bit of a end to our short little discussion that we were having in a quiet early game. As it was a numbers game initially that looked like Bro were going to win. But nice turnaround there from Yukal off vision, gets the ult, and Gideon is unfortunately unable to escape. So Gideon here level 6, right? Gets caught instantly, and with this setup here with Romer having scatter, they want to try to turn this with a Cataclysm play, but they're just not able to really get full access to the backline. So Gideon is just, because he was the one who went back in for the re-engage, no one was left out to dry, and the burn from the poison ticks through, so I think he's got to be like a second off there, but still,
yeah, I feel like if he had walked to the inhibitor turret instead, it might have been an execute, but I don't blame him. I was kind of feeling like it had been enough time, but not going to be the case. So first blood does go over to Yukal. He grabs himself some Merc Treads to start off this lane, And that is going to feel absolutely fantastic. The added durability against this lady that's just throwing orbs at him over and over again. Willer and Andor have just been living here in mid lane. I wonder when Willer is going to do his bottom side camps, as there is the Dragon Flag to not actually get too much CC, but here is the engage. It's a lot of damage onto the Syndra, and down she will go. The curtains were called as well, as aiming helps them lock down those kills. And KRX, they are not slowing down.
All right, well, I mean, play through your mid lane. First pick Cassiopeia is the answer. He was losing the lane initially with a counter pick. Syndra actually doing quite well. However, with all of these resources gained or given to the mid lane, he gained a kill, grabbed an assist on the second play here. Roamer will have to TP back to lane, but a lot of early value. It's nothing that Pro can't recover from, but I like the proactivity. I like that Andil is just camping it effectively. But Aiming gets to stay down here because he can make an impact from far away. And he actually grabs a plate here and will help his team secure first dragon. So the early game coming up all Kiwoom here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the gold is not a gigantic advantage, but with Aiming getting back up in the lane is great. But now Andil is very dead, like exceptionally dead.
Yeah, this time he probably should have been a little bit further away from the mid lane.
Yeah.
Or especially the top part of it.
He was making sure that they got the Drake, Wolf. And that's what he was doing. He got information that they were definitely going to get the Drake.
He was doing a Talia Wall cosplay.
Yeah.
It was pretty good cosplay. Similar colors.
Well, Namgung gets information as to where Willer is. He's going to use the smite in order to secure that red buff, so he'll be absolutely fine. Teddy still with a bit of a deficit here, given the couple of plates that Aiming was able to claim. But there's a Crystalline Overgrowth build-up here for Teddy to pop if he would like to grab a little bit of extra money for himself. Casting also pretty big lead right now. As you can see, Frog kind of suffering in this lane, and there's a teleport advantage about to come up here for Casting as well. The Harpoon's not going to connect. Yes, he knows exactly how wide Ambessa is now.
Yeah.
Calculated.
Casting likes frog legs, so he doesn't want to get roasted.
Aha, that's a joke based on where we just traveled to, Wolf. I like that.
Yep.
Fun
and
stuff.
Also the name of the player.
I didn't have the frog's legs, though. I did try snails.
Pretty good.
Delicious.
I think Casting is a knower.
Yep.
That's why he picked Rumble.
Oh, Teddy going to be out of Valkyrie out of the way of that one.
This bottom lane, we keep trying to see if it's going to be interesting. It just hasn't been, you know?
Yeah.
It's when Camille's in the bottom lane, you're like, oh, something will always happen. No, not necessarily in this matchup, especially when the supports are actually supports for the mid lane, as most of this game has been. But they were all four down there for a second.
Yep. Did you see that, by the way? Roamer was roaming.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
He does tend to do that occasionally.
You know what's really sad? The fact that the caster bot lane meta hasn't stretched to Annie bot lane yet. And so we can't have Teddy as Teddy.
No.
Because he could play reverse Annie, and then he's actually just a Teddy.
Yeah.
Which would be so good. Or Volleybit bot lane, that's another opportunity. As now Namgung's going to fly in. Didn't have the flash, so wasn't actually able to close the gap towards Frog, but it is still a good trade, and a flash gained here for the Bros on the top side of the map. Casting is just kind of blowing this this top lane out of the water.
They're going for another one, and I think maybe this time Frog does clear the wave, but he still might croak if they fully commit.
See what he did there.
Because he can't leave, even though the wave was cleared. A second wave's going to come through.
Well, Namgung, will he find the hook shot? The answer is no, because there is that the ulti to come through from Frog. Still going to get knocked up by Gideon, though. And tick, 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 tick. And the Ignite goes down. Namgung holds onto the turret aggro for such a long time. Finally, he gets flagged, but the 1-for-1 comes in. And Namgung is going to die. I think suffering for the sins of his other players.
Not to mention all the extra time spent here. Teddy swaps topside, and this is going to force the TP bottom. Aiming got 700 gold, the advantage from just sitting down there and slowly picking away at those plates. Now he's going to Ghost Blade back to the top lane, try to match Teddy up there, but ends up getting a lot of damage done. So
that was such a weird passage of play.
Top laner of KRX definitely lasting a bit longer than they really wanted him to here. As turret's charging, gets away, and then watch this. Ignite drops, and he just doesn't hit.
Oh, no. And he walked back in.
He's like, I got him, I got him, I got him.
I think maybe like Gideon would have just died instead if Namgung had have dropped turret aggro, but unfortunate there. And so KRX going to retain the kill lead, but Bro with a 1,000 gold advantage at the moment. Largely because, as you can see here, casting is almost 30 CS up, which is kind of insane.
Yeah, it's quite a substantial advantage. You could say he's leaps and bounds ahead of the top laner for KRX.
I think I know how well he's going to get across the road.
Yeah. We're about to have a first item completion for this Rumble as well. I've not yet seen a big straight-up team fight. I wouldn't really call what happened to Gideon in the early game that. It was kind of a disjointed situation. Good punish from UCal.
Also very close to an execute as well.
Yeah.
At that instance.
So, you know, these compositions are going to scale very differently, right? The Cassiopeia scales incredibly well. The Jhin has a lot of setup from ahead. The Zambessa is behind, but that doesn't necessarily mean that with the setup they have in this draft that can't just turn around very quickly. Oh. Aiming is a bit far forward.
Yes, he is going to be put into the ultimatum as the flash out of the way of the anchor comes through. Gideon just skewers the new 80 carry of KRX. And now the rest of them have to get away, but it's so difficult. Flag and drag locks down Andal. Gideon standing in the way of any attempted anchor play. And down they will go. The Bros now erupt into a 2,000 gold lead.
Yeah, that's all it takes is just a big overextension to give the opportunity. I mean, it's the Syndra setup, easy follow-up to the Jarvan. Jarvan, 4 kills, by the way.
Yeah, and it's also so much worse than that. There's so many plates raining towards Teddy right now.
Teddy he was very far behind aiming because of the pressure that aiming was able to get in the alone time onto the turret bottom side. And now, just like that, he's killed. And Teddy's right back into the... I mean, this is like illegal levels of being way too far out. Like, Ghostblade was kind of cute. He's like, maybe. He flashes as well, but unfortunately, Gideon is able to get the extension and just impale him from behind to get that final auto to secure the kill. If the kill went over to Teddy, I feel like that's the only way this goes worse, frankly. But he still gets the plate gold, you pointed out. Picks up a bounty of his own, albeit very small, and KRX definitely on the back foot here in this one from now on.
Yeah, they are going to be able to get themselves the Herald. That is definitely good news. KRX try and make their way back into this game. Might be able to use that to grab themselves the first turret, as a lot of them looking a little worse for wear, especially that bottom side. Still, Teddy is very close to knocking down the front door. UCal possibly getting closed in on here. I really feel like Camille entering the meta was great for Namgung, just based on his playstyle.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Like the Elise Pike guy. He is getting another one.
Eclectic engaged champion player.
Yep.
And pick-based player. So it does make a lot of sense.
Damage support player, I guess you could say. So feeling right at home on
maybe if that's the case, maybe he's going to pull out the brand next.
Oh, there we go. Xerath. What's the most popular one here in Korea? Like LeBlanc support for I don't even want to play support. I'm just going to play this and basically troll you.
Or Teemo.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I like Yuumi with Cleanse Ghost.
Or even worse, Yuumi with Flash Ghost.
True.
Yeah. That's a dodge for me, dog.
Yeah. Cat.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm keeping the animal theme rolling.
Indeed.
Well, Teddy is going to have to help his squad defend this drop of the Herald. Like, they were able to pick this Herald up earlier, and they're just going to drop it with no objective up and just try to put it in. Gideon could try to stop this from charging.
Yeah, there's the Cataclysm forward. They're looking for aiming. Who doesn't have flash? He's just dead. And yes, Shelly gets the charge, but the Bros get their target, and there is no way that this turret is falling down. Casting just putting the pressure onto Frog here towards the bottom side, and UCal, yes, he gets a crash in the top lane, but Roma is barely even going to miss out on a few of these creeps. As the Bros move to a 2.7k gold advantage, they'll be able to get first turret here as well. That should be over a 3k, and it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very simple equation. You have Rift Herald charging, and that's going to get a lot of our turret, but I'm going to get your 80 carry and the whole turret, and now looking like a potential second turret here as UCal tries to defend.
Yeah. I think 80 carry plus first turret, it does not equal small charge and some plates.
Yeah, it's rough too. I mean, considering the Rumble had a lead, and that's like where the rest, like we haven't seen any more attention towards Rumble at all this game, right? Like it's just been playing through the picks in the mid lane, getting that turret down. We did see, you know, the attempt, right, to kill Frog, and he traded a kill back, and etc. But that was a lead that was already there. The rest of the leads have just kind of been set up by Bro looking for good punishes. And if nothing's given over this Ambessa, Frog's just still going to be in the tadpole stage for the foreseeable future. It's not looking great. I mean, he might be able to get something done in a late game team fight with this Cassiopeia if we can get the game to a stabilized point at like 25 to 30. But Bro have so much of a tempo advantage, the composition that is really strong in skirmishes from ahead. This turret is still surviving.
It is, just barely. But I'm glad that you bring that up, because I do think that we are hitting the stride of the Bros right now. 2-item spikes coming in. Roma and Teddy, both of them have those collected. Casting also has his arm guard now complete, so that's basically 2 items. Gideon has all the kills, and so he's definitely got 2 items. Like, this is such a big power spike for the Bros.
It's kind of weird how late Teddy's tier stacks are in this game, also considering how quickly he put it together. But
yeah, still needs 64, which is quite a lot.
It's kind of weird. I don't. Maybe I missed something on his tier buy timing, and it was just a little bit later than usual. But either way, he's going to put it together.
He stacks it a little slower than some of the other 8 carries, like Ezreal, perhaps. Now that he throws rockets around forever, after hitting level 6, it is a little bit quicker. But before that, cooldowns are a little bit worse, as the anchor is not going to even hit the wall there. As the Scat of the Week comes down, the flash and the depth charge come out, as Namgung is just able to wall dive his way out of there. So a lot of buttons going wide. A teleport is going to be committed as Casting looks for some harpoons. He's running real quick and has that extra shield for the durability.
And there's no ult for Andil anymore. They don't have control over the space here. It's Ocean Soul with his brush here. It's so hard to fight without vision for KRX, but they're going to force it anyways.
Yeah, Casting, he's in range for any sort of equalizer. Scat of the Week goes down. Willer is going to get zoned away. He does manage to get the dragon, but he dies immediately afterwards. Andil's going to fall down as well. There's dragons falling over, and there is turrets falling down, but KRX are also just going to get destroyed. 3 dead in trade for that Drake. And the Bros, I think, still pretty happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just an Ocean Dragon here, not even Soul Point. And they had full control. And KRX just went in. They had no vision. They had no way for Frog to look for the setup he wanted there. It didn't have the Andil ultimate because he used it in the exchange where it was just traded for Camille escaping.
Yeah,
I want everyone to notice that also Namgung didn't even have to ult in the fight. He didn't even need it.
I mean, that's the main thing, right? Is that the Bros just played this so patiently.
And then, like, Frog's going back in. He thinks he's an amphibious player. He's both a QRX player.
I mean, he's in the tadpole stage. He's not even amphibious yet. He can only go in the water.
Yeah, no, he can't. He's not supposed to get out yet. But he wanted to go back in. It was crazy how Bro opted into that. And then as soon as it looked really bad, after Willer got the steal and he died, they were like, let's opt in again.
You mean KRX?
Yeah, sorry, excuse me.
Yes. The Bros definitely didn't opt in either.
No, they just waited and said, thank you for the free setup.
Yeah, and they didn't get the Drake, but that wasn't necessarily the point, as they've now moved to a 5.6k gold advantage, make that 5.7. And yeah, you can have your Ocean Dragon. We are now going to set up around the Baron. Teddy gets that transformation that we were talking about. Cataclysm, and oh, that equalizer placement, just gorgeous, meaning the KRX are unable to defend their support. And so now, 5 versus 4 around this Baron pit. It is 22 minutes. The Baron really does hurt, so they're not going to go for it just yet. But the Bros seem to be getting picks wherever they want them.
Yeah, they really are. And they have so much control in this comp. It's so simple if you hit the first part of the setup. Whether that's a Camille or a Scatter, or even a Jarvan Flag and Drag, everything just kind of falls in line. And when Teddy hits 2 items, he can follow up so easily too, because he's got Valkyrie. You know, in a lot of ways, Corki feels like a safer Kaisa, you know, in some of these fights where he's just like, I'm just going to press W.
It's just budget Ezreal at this point, right? Like, yeah, your Arcane Shift or Valkyrie in this case is on a longer cooldown and isn't an actual blink. but, you know, it fares a similar way. It hits the same power spikes. Yucal flashing towards Roma here, and he is just going to get bitten. Down goes the Syndra. Turns on a dime there. I do like this out of KRX.
That was a heavy commitment from Yucal, but it is absolutely worth it. Trying to do Baron after this, though, I think might be a bit of a challenge. We'll see if they can at least trick Bro into thinking that maybe they're looking for something like that. Aiming is here with ultimate, too, so Namgung needs to leave.
I think, like, yeah, in other games, the Baron would have been possible, but it's a 7-1 Jarvan.
Yeah.
So if he gets into the pit, like, yes, killing him's more difficult, but also he does a bajillion damage.
The reason why they went for that play, well, obviously they were able to find Roamer here with a really nice flash engage from Yucal, but also they know that Jarvan's likely in the area, but doesn't have his Cataclysm, so they can chase super far here with the Fury. Jarvan's just to the right of you, as you can see there on the right side of your screen, but doesn't have Cataclysm, so can't try to hold them under turret or really make any sort of outplay there. So that was a really nice judgment there from Yucal about every single part of that. And now he's level 16 on this Cassiopeia. Maybe he could be a window back in for QMDRX.
A possibility, perhaps. Maybe
we've seen a lot of comebacks this week, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the amount of upsets that we've had have been kind of ridiculous. Is casting underneath this turret, not going to get hit by the Petrifying Gaze, and goes golden to buy time. Gideon moving up, Anchor is going to go wide, flash out of the way of the public execution. And yeah, he uses a bunch of cooldowns, but in the end, his turret will still just go down.
Absolutely. So, another small win. Small win stacking up.
Indeed. And it was the Zhonya's, so I guess not exactly as much of a worry here for casting. We'll just have to wait out.
So a bit of a cooldown. It won't be up for this dragon.
Indeed. And the dragon, 30 seconds. So let's see whether the bros can actually contest for this one and claim it. So far, KMDRX, I mean, if they do manage to get the Ocean Soul point, they'll be feeling pretty good about it.
Amy looking for a third item. Teddy has Collector already finished. Pretty value when you're ahead like this. You know, everyone has different opinions about Collector, but I think when you're playing Corki, it's a great third item. When your team is this far ahead and you have such great setup, it's an incredibly powerful item to have to just continue to hold on to your lead. QMDRX going to clear this control ward on Baron, but Bro are taking the real live objective on the other side. And they're completely set up here, which means that there's some, you know, maybe you could push a little bit deeper as Frog, but he doesn't have full vision or anything like that. Yeah, Bro are just not going to let this one go. It's only second dragon, so this is not a big deal per se.
It does mean that QMDRX are able to park themselves around this Baron and get full control of this topside river. There's a teleport in, though. The bros know what's going on. They're going to put aiming in the Cataclysm. The Equalizer follows him. Andal is burning down, and Teddy will finish him off. And now Yucal getting pushed away. The scatter as Roma tries to find the revenge, but that Petrifying Gaze was outstanding. The stopwatch even better out of Roma, and the bros are immortal, invincible in the team fight, and they'll take the Baron.
Just too far ahead at this point. Yucal's ultimate was phenomenal, but it doesn't matter if there's no follow-up. He's still alive here with aiming. They're going to try to stop this Baron, but it is going to be a tall ask.
Yeah, Roma is going to take so much damage here. Well, oh, he starts off these captive audiences from aiming. Yucal moves in. It is going to be the Baron secured. And there's the flash from Gideon. Yucal will be taken out. Aiming, spotted there by the Scrying Orb, and there is vision over here. Andal moving down. Teddy blocks, and Gideon is just going to try and kill Andal here as well. Aiming, just kind of watching all of his new teammates die, one after the other, kind of put into the crucible here in his first game.
Down he goes, and this one, definitely his third death of the game, definitely more about the whole situation. Don't think you can blame Team Synergy on his first two in the mid lane, though, in this one. As in this fight, it's a double TP into the back line, but Gideon's right where he wants to be. Aiming's forced to flash because of the setup there and the Equalizer. Ando gets taken out, and now QMDRX are split because of this wall here, and Yucal is the target. Now his ultimate here is phenomenal.
Four-man.
But there's just no fall. Frog is so weak. And aiming is a Jhin who's out of bullets. And it's unfortunately for Yucal and his heroism not enough. Now aiming does do a lot of work here, but all they have to do is make sure that Jarvan isn't taken out. And even though these are 2 kills going over, the Smite Seeker is going to be there. They make it close. He actually doesn't have Smite. In fact, I forgot about that in this replay. But they get it anyways, and they're able to get the turn kill here as well.
Yep. Teddy
used the Smite in the fight, I believe.
Yeah, Teddy actually killed the Baron on 140 health. So it was basically a 50-50 at that stage. Kind of insane. We're having a look at some craziness in live as well. As Gideon's getting hunted down, they will be able to grab that kill. As now Frog gets into the backline. Roma taking a lot of damage. Teddy is able to snipe him down though, and this Corki is so fed. 7-0-6 right now. Looking to be legendary with just 1 more kill and just needs a rocket towards Andal. That's not it. That is going to miss and will be denied a legendary Teddy for the next little few moments.
Yeah, UCal being here makes it hard for Teddy to flash for that one. I think he probably definitely gave it a long consideration, even will give it a blue trinket, but not going to happen. Is this too much map control? There's no information here, right? It's like, yeah, Gideon's here. Maybe we can get him. He's got, what, 8 kills in this game, though?
Yeah, pretty ridiculous.
Got him.
Kills.
Mission accomplished, right? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So deep on this one, and it's really easy for Bro to just rotate over.
They do get a Baron off the Rift, though, right? And yes, KRX did need to send everyone back home. Willa limping away, Andal limping away. But going 1-for-1 into a Baron doesn't feel too bad. Still, 8,000 gold is the advantage. 1 minute until Soul Point here for the Bros. 10 seconds left on this Baron. The Rebel Baron power play cresting the 3,000 mark as it ticks away. You'd say that's definitely worth it. Infinity Edge done for Teddy. Yeah, there's a lot of good items here on the Bros.
Yeah, I'm looking at the other side, and LDR is done. Rylai's...
God, that's such a sad Jhin build.
Yeah, it is really just doing not a lot right now. But all of this is, these are small things, right? Like the Jhin build, the Rylai's that isn't that high value as a, 4th item with the Zonia's coming through just now completed, I should say. But it's just a matter of lack of map control. Like, they can't actually take any fights on their terms. Yuko keeps trying, right? Like, he made the play topside here, looking for Teddy here, gets his Valkyrie out, but cannot deny the Valkyrie. He's just walking up. He's trying to make something happen.
There's the curtain call. The Bro's going to have to try and defend Teddy. He gets another Valkyrie as he flashes away. They'll take the blast cone to get away from aiming's bullets. And now casting, the footwork from this man. Holds onto his Banshee's Veil, ladies and gentlemen. Like, it didn't even matter if that had hit him, it would have done nothing, but he still holds onto the shield.
Yeah, he wants to keep it. Yeah, as it turns out, he likes that bubble.
Yeah. All right, well,
it's like
the boy with the bubble.
You remember playing Sonic back in the day, you got that bubble on, you're not going to lose any ring.
Oh, absolutely not.
It.
Yeah.
That's always how I feel about Banshee's Veil, is Frog. I don't know how he feels about it, but I don't think he's thinking about it right now.
No, he's just thinking about what he's going to do after he comes out of the Death Chamber and how legendary Teddy is as he goes to 8-0-6 in this game. Only missing out on 3 of the kills as far as kill participation is concerned. This Corki is the main character, and I don't know whether KRX can do anything about it.
I don't think it is likely. I think that last attempt from UCal was as close as it is going to get. And they've got 2 strong pushing lanes right now. The Baron obviously expired a while ago, so probably just back off and play it safe. Baron spawns in a minute. Just win 1 more Baron fight. The game is yours. Well, or just, if there's no fight, if there's no contest, get Baron and push those same lanes and eventually win the game. There's something to be said of how well UCal and aiming, to a lesser extent, have played out this late game from the deficit. They've made some of these moments look almost viable. Like, there's maybe an angle, but it's just coming up short every time.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Teddy being 2 full items ahead of aiming, whose items were looking not super hot anyway.
Double his damage as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a bit of an 80 carry gap in this game. Got some vintage Teddy happening here as UCal is able to sidestep that scat of the week. Really is the last hope for KRX is this Cassiopeia. But with the Baron spawning in 5 seconds time, I just don't know whether Kium can actually get over here.
UCal, I don't know if he could do more of this game, to be honest. He is Hard farming. He's on 4 items. He's got 5 stacks of Dark Seal, 9,000 gold down.
I think they're dead, ladies and gentlemen. Aiming is just going to get ultimatumed and taken out. It's Namgung that grabs that one. There goes the Syndra. So Roma's woes continue. But into the back line they go. Casting, finding another great equalizer to split up the battlefield. Sidesteps UCal's petrifying gaze. This man is courageous. He ain't afraid of anything, not even snakes. And humans are predisposed to be scared of snakes, ladies and gentlemen. And he says no to instinct and says yes to killing the enemy Nexus.
What about Yordles?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I imagine Yordles are more scared of snakes.
I think so, just because of size.
Yeah. Because they're, smaller.
But if you've got a Banshee's Veil on, how scared are you really?
Well, you shouldn't be scared, but instinct sometimes has nothing to do with reason.
Yeah, just like how I'm always scared of any spider I see regardless of size anywhere near me. Even though I can definitely crush it.
Yep.
I don't want to.
I mean, Achilles is even worse, man. I went away, and so I couldn't be there to take a spider away from his house. He hired someone to do it.
Wow. I didn't even know there were people you could hire like that. I'm going to have to...
Yeah, neither did I. He told me that, like, yeah, apparently you could just find someone on Dungan to do it for you. Which is like the secondhand marketplace. As the Baron is going to go over to Hunjin here.
Yeah, I mean, KRX are trying to find a cross map. There, unfortunately, isn't one. As we might have a bit of a frog horizon here for casting in a little bit if he gets just a few more waves of extra minions.
It's a frog horizon, and it's also actually a flame horizon as well because he's playing Rumble.
I just wanted to make a frog attachment as aiming. Caught here by Namgung. First damage is there. Tries to flash and kite away, but killed by Gideon. Buys some time for UCal to come in, and without UCal being here, the fight just looks like a complete wash. When UCal does show up, you're like, wow, is there a real chance here? But Banshee's Veil is pretty good.
Yeah, casting with the sidestep as well, absolutely gorgeous. And 6.6 thousand gold, the lead for Teddy. As Rapid Fire Cannon is done. He has all the items before aiming has 4!
Yeah, they're trying to really... I mean, they're very aware that UCal is the problem. They're trying to find angles on him, and UCal is just going to run away. And so they're like, all right, well, we could just end the game, by the way.
Yeah, why don't they just walk towards the base?
Well, I don't ever ask that to Degon about his squad. We ask that question a lot when he's not around, but when he is around, he is listening actively as he is right now. It's sometimes a question he doesn't really like to hear. But look, they are kind of eventually getting the other parts of the base. They're trying to 100% this game. You know, they're getting the platinum. They're getting all the trophies. They're getting all the achievements.
I do respect it.
Finishing out the Pokedex, you know.
Do you reckon they'll also get Mew? Technically, does it count as completing the Pokedex? Like, if you don't have access to having the event to get the Mew?
I think 100%ing the game also on Aiming's debut trade game counts as getting Mew. Pretty much.
Ah, there you go.
Like, it's a pretty rare promo to have the first Aiming game on KRX after a trade nobody saw coming. It's basically Mew.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well, the bros are also going to be able to complete the Ocean Pokedex here as well, as they will be able to grab that soul.
In this game, I don't feel like they've really pushed a truck, so to speak, to get the Mew either.
Yeah.
You know that old rumor.
Yeah, nor have they done that thing where you can like change the index of the Pokemon by like talking to a specific trainer and then flying to another place and then flying back again in order to get the thing, and then you can like actually get the Mew in the sneaky little way.
You mean that missing no glitch?
Yeah, it's not missing. It's slightly different. Anyway, KRX are looking to try and defend desperately here, but they are running out of turrets incredibly quickly. It's going to have to be an engage. Problem is, like, Andel's the one that has to go in and try and make something happen, but it's so hard to follow up. Equalizer just going to zone them away. Aiming takes half of his health bar from just looking at the fire. You know, he was trying to warm his hands, and then all of a sudden he was ablaze.
Yeah. They're just trying to clear this wave, and they survive. The Baron does not end the game. Only gets 2 inhibitors.
What about the next Baron in 3 minutes?
How about an Elder Flip in 5 minutes?
Hey, there you go.
UCal is still 2,300 gold ahead. He's... Okay, hold on. Willer, don't go too far. I'm kind of entertained by the thought that this game could just end abruptly on an Elder Flip if Gideon gets caught or Willer wins a smite fight and UCal just, I don't know, presses R towards them and they all explode instantly because he's pretty big. I mean, it's actually, is UCal big or is Romer small? It's kind of a question of both.
I'm feeling that Romer is small at this stage.
Looking at the items, I'm like, well, he's getting there. He is the biggest lead. He is the biggest problem, and he is a lot of consistent damage, whereas Romer is not.
The problem for the Bros is that Teddy is not getting any stronger, right? Like, he's maxed out. He's capped. He's got all of the items.
Yeah, you don't sell the boots on the extra slot in this one.
Yeah, I mean, you could sell maybe like a collector for a Bloodthirster or something weird.
He could change his boots, I suppose, right, to a different set of boots.
True. But even then, I don't even know whether you want to do that.
Like, what boots would make him stronger? It's probably best to be safe with all the armor you have from the GA as well.
Maybe upgraded boots, which you can't do anymore, would have been the optimal one. But you can see these big ones are starting to hurt.
This isn't even a crazy wave clear game for QMDRX. Like, they are just holding on. I mean, UCal has a decent amount, but
it's just not a lot of siege here for the Bros, right?
They have siege in terms of hard engage if QMDRX step up to them, but if they don't, it's a little bit tougher. This mid inhibitor has respawn. It's going to be 3 full minutes before that bottom one does, and it's 3 stacked super minions coming over, but UCal has already got it on lock. He's going to get all that extra money. He's looking to build a death cap here, and he might actually get to have one before we go to this Baron fight.
Which would be absolutely insane.
It's crazy.
Resets coming in, and yeah, UCal is just farming. Romer completes the Zhonya's. I would have loved it if he had just kept his arm guard and tried to build a death cap.
We normally do the bro and brew like in the mid game, somewhere between 10 to 25 minutes. Recently, they've been a little bit more aggressive in the early game, then they slow it down. This is the latest brew we have ever seen.
Yeah. Teddy also sold his rapid fire cannon for a Lord Doms.
Okay.
So that's a cute move. Did need some armor penetration because we are this late into the game. Everyone's level 18s and things like this. And so that is going to get you more value. Won't have quite as much poke. It's okay. Aiming, throws down the ultimate to see whether they can find an angle. That hook shot was just gorgeous out of Namgung. Andal immediately punished for the play, and Casting will show up to roast them. Dives onto Aiming. He finds the harpoon just beautifully. That was perfect rumble play. That is a petrifying gaze that kind of works, but in the end, QMDRX will just be dispatched by the Bros. Yeah, it took them a while to get that Pokedex together, but once they did, that little robotic voice said that they had a nice completion, and then they went and spoke to that guy, and they got that Game Freak award. Here are the Nexus turrets going down, and the Bros will take game number 1 over QMDRX, welcoming Aiming to his new team.
40 minutes it takes to take UCal out and end the game. But this is more about the picks on to Aiming. You know, there was some skirmishes that went the way of Hanjin Brion early, but those 2 pivotal kills onto Aiming will really open the game up. And then every subsequent fight was, it was almost as if Hanjin were like, we're not going to take a fight unless we can kill Aiming.
Yeah.
And they also had the thought process of, we're not going to take a fight unless we can kill UCal. They just never really could catch that guy because he was positioned really well the whole time. But almost every replay you'll watch of this game will be Aiming getting caught, unfortunately. Some of those in the late game, you can break it down to the fact that they had no vision, no control over the game. It's tough to play out. But the first 2 deaths were really just on him, especially that one where he was walking up to turret in the mid lane. But that gave so much tempo over to Bro. Teddy exploded after that moment. See if you can find it in the gold graph at home. You can play along. See the moment where he got picked the first time and see the moment where he got picked the second time in those big bumps of gold that Bro got.
And I have to say, Teddy had a phenomenal game, undying on the Corki. He was amazing. But Casting probably played one of his best games I have seen him play in his entire career. Absolutely beautiful rumble play. Navigated the lane so well. That last play was perfect. Wonderful stuff. We're going to go to a short break. When we get back, the Space going to break down that game. Then we're going to go to game number 2. We'll see you there.
아 미드.
다음에 다.
괜찮아.
나 피한데.
야 맞아. 아 노텔부터.
노플이야.
아 노텔부터.
노플.
이질 잡고 도와주라. 나.
이겼어. 오케이.
아, 2-4조야.
하자.
이번에
안 뺏어.
오케이. 이해 봐.
야 집 볼게.
막자.
끝내자.
가지. 다시 봐줘, 얘들아.
다시 봐줘. 끝났어.
야. 나이스.
아 아깝다. 아까 탑가스 됐을 것 같긴 해 얘들아 근데.
내자.
인정.
아 잠깐 탑파 살아. 형님들.
Ridiculous.
It was good. It was good stuff. Casting looking very good. And
Well, I mean, if we do say so ourselves.
yeah, I mean,
Okay, probably going to be banned.
I
Jay's going to be banned as well.
It took a lagged there.
Yeah, it's okay. We're at the game 4. You know, this is potentially the last game of the night.
I don't see.
There's just mainly brain lag. That's what we have left.
I don't see co-streaming the player on either of these lineups. If you know what I'm saying. All right,
Technically,
so-
we are co-streaming
Yeah.
because it's the Korean broadcast that we're working over. So technically, our entire broadcast, our whole existence, is a co-stream. If you think about
true. I guess.
Maybe
My whole
life,
life is a
maybe
co-stream.
life is a co-stream. Wolf.
I'm actually literally just talking and
My
observing.
consciousness is only co-streaming my body.
Everything I say is actually just what I've observed about the planet I'm on that's rotating and revolving around the sun without my... I haven't produced it. I
Yeah,
haven't controlled
no,
it.
it's just your interpretation
My
of
God,
it.
I knew I was a co-streamer all along.
See,
Okay.
we're all co-streamers.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at this final ban. Is it Lock?
It is.
Romer got to play Lock in Kespa Cup, and it was very fun.
It was, and now he's not allowed to play it. Not anymore. He's going to ban it away himself. They do have first pick, so they didn't have to. And they're obviously going for something else instead. It's not going to be Orianna or the Vi. Let's see what's going to be picked up here. Maybe just a Lee Sin for Gideon. Maybe an Ezreal for Teddy. That's a really good point. I think it has to be Ezreal, right?
Just get Ezreal. Just slam it down.
The Ezreal in the Fries group bag.
Yep. It's the best one. It's...
Come on, Teddy. Do it. The cameraman knows. The cameraman knows. It's Ezreal time.
It's Ezreal time.
Isn't it Ezreal time?
It's first pick Lee Sin
It's
time.
first pick Lee Sin time. Oh no, why did I manifested that.
It is Gideon. Gideon's like, put some respect on my name. I know Ezreal 100% win rate, but Lee Sin's really good. Very flexible. Fine, okay. I'll give Gideon some credit. Let's see if there's any grub pickups later. For the response here, Victor less appealing these days. It's kind of fallen off a little bit. We're not seeing it as much. In fact, we haven't seen it all day. Annie Wukong in my Rise group.
Oh, there we go. The Fries special. You love
Keep
to
it
see
simple, Rise group. Willer, you know you like to play Wukong. We've seen quite a bit of Wukong out of you. You can go it on 3 because you already have the jungler on the other team locked in. They'll get the Ezreal as well and Kiwum DRX with a nice little setup here. Pay no attention to that win rate on the Ezreal. That is year-long.
Yeah, and so that is taking into account all of the matches that happened prior to the meta going insane. The last week or so, Ezreal has been completely ballistic. Lucian Milio, as the immediate response, I think sounds pretty good when you can nullify the bear drop.
I wonder if they would consider going Karma. I don't think you want to because you want the Wukong. They could go Rakan later, maybe, you know, with all the setup they have. It's not going to be great in the lane, but they are just going to say no to Lucian and also no to Wukong, sadly, for Willer.
I think it has to be the Karma. I think that makes a lot of sense. Not having the Rakan for the Rise group combo, I think, is a worthy sacrifice, but they're going to need engage from somewhere else. I don't think Yukal can do it on his own, as the Rise is going to be taken away from Roma. Rise Lee Sin has been pretty popular, and I'm expecting... Oh, okay, so the Xin Zhao ban going to come through. I actually kind of thought it would be Wukong Skarner taken away to protect the Lee Sin pick as much as possible.
They can still ban the Wukong in that final spot if they want to, because this was a big commitment to grab the Karma here for Andil.
Yep. I do really like Skarner in this spot for Willow, though. So maybe they will get a free monkey with the Scorpion banned away. The Galio going to be taken away from Roma first.
And we'll get one of the two, as the Galio counterpick to Annie has been very successful. It's great with the Lucian comp like this with Lee Sin in tow. I think I'd rather play against Skarner than Wukong in this draft, But Skarner is very difficult to kill depending on what Roamer is planning on playing. They agree they will ban the Wukong.
Was it Willa that played the ridiculous Skarner game?
Yes, it was.
In the Casper Cup? It was, right? Yeah. Him and Canyon having absolutely insane performances on that champ.
Hecarim would be very fun.
Yeah,
also probably bad, and don't do it.
I don't think that Hecarim is going to be the lock-in, but Aiming is hovering it for quite some time.
Pantheon is a pretty big curveball here, but it does give this draft a little bit more direct engage and also a lot of skirmishing power, like the burst damage in the early game is very strong, and the 3v3 on the bottom side is much better than Wukong would have offered pre-6, obviously, so it can help that bottom lane. As the Aurora is a classic counter to the Annie. Like these are the two, the Galio and the Aurora. This one a little bit less common than the Twisted Fate, but really suits this composition. I like the Aurora more, though, because I think it has a lot more power in sides, a lot more safe.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded something like an Akali as well, but I guess up against the Annie, you're not having as much fun. The Aurora has been an answer to it before. Although, Aurora, last time we saw it, I believe it was Zeka playing it in our series yesterday. Didn't like it as much there either. But now I'm going, what are you locking away for casting? That is the question. Yone. Wait, where are these champions going?
Well, it might depend on what Frog is picking. If they are going to play Yone, they might not. And they might just play something standard here instead. You could just play Renekton. It's available.
Yeah, or you can just lock in Anivia.
Okay.
Now we have no idea where either of these champions are going. However, the archetype is similar for both.
I think it's probably Aurora mid just because of the matchup into the Annie, but that being said,
Yorick for Frog.
This is not a simple matchup into either of these potential top laners for the Yorick to play out. The Anivia wave clears through everything, and the Aurora's burst damage has to be respected.
I do think it's a better matchup into the Anivia than it is into the Aurora. Aurora a lot more tricky, and the whole idea of playing Yorick is hit E. The bird flaps away from the E a little bit worse than the Aurora would. So I expect casting would have preferred to play the Aurora there, but they do want to make sure that they preserve that matchup into UCal. So let's see whether the Frog can find some advantages here.
It's a bit of a additional layer of setup for team fights in the pick with the Lucian Lee Sin. I just think that they didn't need to reinvent the wheel with this one, with the Anivia and the curveball there. They certainly could have just played Renekton, which would have been really good for their comp. Maybe they're worried about Renekton counterpick, like the Gnar coming through. But ultimately, we end up with the weird draft, which makes it more fun.
Yeah. And I believe that guy, was that his 10-year anniversary of watching the LCK?
I didn't actually see what it said. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's very
I was slack, and I had in my mind's eye the compositions up, wondering which one I'd say in this moment where the color caster sums it up and sometimes says someone wins the draft. I think this one's going to be about execution, which is the color caster safe word for we'll see. It's Rise Group, baby.
Yeah, and I don't know. Okay, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting onto the riff for game number 2. All right, I do want to say the coordination of the KMDRX fan chants, much better this time around. So very, very nice. Oh, wait. So apparently that guy, the last time he went to watch the LCK was 10 years ago. And now he's back after 10 years. That's pretty.
Wonder why he took that long break.
Maybe he just stayed home to watch the LCK anyway.
I mean, streaming has improved quite a bit since then. Although I suppose back then he might have watched it on television. 10 years ago, wow, 10 years ago, 2016, we actually did have HD on OGN back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't always like that. We had a little 4x3 action for quite some time, but...
You did have to be subscribed, I think, in 2016 in order to get the maximum value. But, I mean, I'm sure he was. He's aiming, taking a lot of damage here. Is a little bit of a late barrier there as well. We'll get some of that damage to stick. Andal going to straight up miss a Mantra Q, which always feels bad. And as we can see here, the Bros now find themselves 2 summoner spells in the advantage with this Melio Lucian lane.
Aiming and Andal just trying to put on as much pressure as they can here. As now they hit level 2. A little bit more power there, but the level 1 for the Karma should be really good as... I don't want to do it. I don't want to say it.
Yeah, Frog's masochism is really showing itself here as he did decide to play this matchup. Oof. Oh my goodness, yeah. So
something
the wave
Frogger,
will crash, Wolf.
Frogger game over screen impending.
Yeah.
You ever play Frogger 2?
No, I didn't. I did hear about Frogger 2 as I did also hear about Roma possibly being dead. The flash to follow. There's first blood for Willa. Beautifully played here by KRX. Off on the right foot this time.
Get the kill and the flash. Flash trade, but Roma not going to be happy about this one, especially because it's really easy for the setup for UCal.
Yep, immediate teleport back.
Yeah, stun prep is going to be the name of the game. He's going to have to keep his eye on that, but Frogger 2 was a very, very late sequel to Frogger, which I'm sure everybody, there's a lot of versions of Frogger, but everyone's familiar with the concept. You cross the road, and then you cross the river, and there's crocodiles and stuff like that. I thought maybe Frog would be playing into Renekton, and I was really hoping for it for the reference, but that was a 3D game. I think a lot of people didn't like it, but I actually really enjoyed it as a kid. Frogger 2 played on PC.
You actually played Frogger 2. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, you get a double hop. You actually has like 3D elements. You can go upstairs.
I thought Frogger 2 was actually just trying to avoid the slimes after patchwork in Nax Rammus. That's what I thought it was.
I think that's a fair call.
야, 리신도 아래 3게임이야 이거 얘들아. 나 이거
right.
아까 맞고 웬만하면
He's
2차
basically calling this way early about where he thinks the Lee Sin is, so he's looking for this pick in the mid lane, so calls it out early, and then stun comes through here. He's stacked up, so he could very easily follow up with the speed boost there.
Oh, I can't believe that we are... Okay, never mind. We've got a little bit of an engage here as Namgung taking a lot of damage, aiming, looking for some revenge as the flash gets Namgung out of there. But the damage kind of being done as Gideon just kind of happy feeding around, trying to work out where to attack next. Willer is going to be moving over here as Gideon realizes that he's going to have to safeguard out. And man, the bros well and truly on the back foot. 700 gold down as a team. And what I was going to say is that it's Frog versus Anivia in the top lane. And we haven't mentioned Froggen.
Yeah, Icebird, Frog.
Yeah.
Frog in. Maybe Frog it would be more appropriate to mention Froggen if this was his debut game this season, but he already played earlier this week.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, he is into Anivia, which was the Froggen champion, you know?
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well,
either way, Andil is just waiting here, trying to soak as much XP as possible. We'll move back into the lane now.
I do think that a conversation about Rich's individual performance has been happening all year long. It's been very up and down, right? But after watching 2 series of Frog, I'm not necessarily convinced. I feel like the biggest impact he's had on the LCK is letting us all know through Ox and some joking that, oh boy, Andil.
Yeah, taking a lot of damage here as aiming, trying to offer it back, and actually Teddy, a little bit not left in the tank, is aiming, flashes in, he gets fire kicked, but I think he's still got it, as another auto will need to land, and aiming's already looking for Namgung here instead. That is a gorgeous kill, and aiming is angry.
Aiming's back online here. They banned the Ezreal in game 1. And in game 2, he gets his hands on it here, and Teddy was a little out of the blue stuff there. As we'll watch it back again. Goes for a backstop and then commits further the dash. And now he's fully committed. They don't have damage with Milio to actually get back in here. And the heal comes back up for Andil, so that chase is really quite simple.
I love the full commit from aiming as well, like immediate arcane shift flash forward. He's like, you are dead.
I mean, it kind of was checkmate the moment that Teddy went in one step further there. I just don't think that there was much he could have done.
All right, there is the ulti trade. I think UCal missed the Tibbers damage, actually, but still Willer is going to show up in the nick of time. And Gideon does hit a Q. It looks like KRX are going to be absolutely okay here in this mid lane, retaining that advantage that they have. 1.4k, Gideon now going to move over. Doesn't have kick, does have the flash up and available. Both of them just looking to see whether they can get control of this scuttle for that level 6. It's now Teddy and Andil fighting once again, but they know how this goes. There's another dash forward as Andil flashes away. And now aiming, he doesn't have his flash, remember, so it does have to be a little careful. It looks like the bros might have control of this crab.
Tibbers being the bodyguard, keeping Roamer out. Can't come in and rejoin, so not only do KMDRX have to stop the aggression, but also there's no punish to come through. So 1.5k gold lead remains here for this squad. You can see it's starting to stack up leads everywhere except that top lane.
Yeah, and even that, it's only 130. Not anything to worry about as Gideon moving down towards his bottom side, trying to capitalize on the lack of flashes as Andal should be the target, but the Q is going to hit onto aiming, and they get both. Gideon on the board with a double kill in the bot lane.
And like giving the Ezreal over to aiming, giving the Lee Sin over to Gideon is certainly a cause for alarm if you are a KMDRX fan. Target selection was brilliant there because they knew aiming is, or rather Andal is 100% going to die, so the shift is over onto aiming here with this Flash Sonic Wave. Gideon is able to, as a result, guarantee both kills.
I think he kicked aiming in the face when aiming had like 30 health. That is like, that's more about sending a message than it is doing the right thing. He could have autoed him and he would have died. But no, he kicked him in the head instead.
Sometimes use all your cooldowns.
Yeah. Really appreciated. All right, KRX going to move their bottom lane towards the top side. And we'll see whether they can get some plates for aiming up here. He still has the 300 gold lead, still feeling pretty good with that CS advantage. But Teddy will be able to eat this whole wave. And so therefore that deficit is not going to remain that large for that long. Will it here on the grubs?
Gideon hates this.
Yeah, this is Gideon grubs.
He's going to have to let these grubs go because he used everything on that bottom side play and does not have control over this area. Man, Gideon really wanted to make that double happen on the bottom side. He's willing to give up grubs for it as a bear gets dropped.
Yep.
You know a little bit about that.
Yeah, Romer is this time going to be able to handle it. And yes, drop bears are real and scary. As the Maiden's blocked out. That was very cool from casting, causing her to just kind of malfunction.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, actually. Another little nuance of the Anivia-Yorick matchup.
There it is.
We're learning here. Frog was able to teach us, as I was mentioning earlier, indirectly that Dagon's spirit animal is the Afghan hound.
Indeed.
But now because he picked Yorick into Anivia, teaching us that the Maiden could get walled off and create a bit of a funny situation.
Now casting as well is going to pick up a Rod of Ages at 9 minutes. That's very early. Really raced towards that item. The early Catalyst was great for lane as well, but now he's going to be stacking that one up. And when you're a top laner, like, think about the level advantage that casting's going to have over the rest of the map.
He's going to feel very good about that, as well as getting his level 3 ultimate online. Gideon fishing for another bottom side pick here potentially, but sees with this ward the retreat, and will just settle for Drake control here with Namgun clearing up this control vision. Willer is here, so we do have a bit of a 3v3 potentially if we are going to see a Drake commit.
Cool. Taking a bit of damage here as now Willer is going to get tagged by a Q. Gideon does have his kick back, but doesn't have flash, and immediately he's going to get stunned. There's the safeguard. The ulti has to be used here from Namgung and Teddy. Just going to play some defense with that Culling. Gets rid of them. But that is some good defensive play from KMDRX.
There's a lot of burst damage here for KMDRX. I think Gideon was really playing quite riskily to go in on a play like that. Does get pushed out, but nothing eventuates from it outside of KMDRX actually getting back control of the Dragon Pit themselves in the 3v3 as Gideon relents and goes over to try to make a pass on Yukal. Yukal is too safe.
Yeah, he is transitioning back down again.
Yeah, it
looked like
weird.
He was safeguarding to go up, but instead he's going to go back as now Teddy going to try and find some damage towards aiming. He takes a lot, though, as now Gideon comes in, kicks Willer away, and doesn't do enough damage. Now Yukal's coming over. We're going to need a safeguard out, and Gideon will leave. Does feel a little bit like a waste of time, as Willer almost dying to the Chemtech Dragon, but he'll be all right as, oh, Yukal, you could see he wants it. Finds the bear onto the Lee Sin, and we'll be able to take them down. Now Roma, does he have an angle for it? The answer is no, and the health bar is just a little too high for this Aurora to burst them down.
And Gideon was very indecisive, I think you could say, about a lot of the plays we were just watching there. You know, going back and forth, going back up to mid, then deciding to commit back to the bottom lane fight. And like I said, in the moments leading up to that, it's a lot of burst in KMDRX's composition, and when they opted out, they couldn't get out of range of Yukal, who ends up setting up the kill there. So Dragon goes over, kill goes over, and once again, Hanjin and Breon find themselves at a 1,500 gold deficit here in this early game.
Oh, we're ulting in towards his bottom lane. Is Teddy almost just dead from the True Shot barrage? Gideon is right here. He was doing his Gromp at the time, so Willer not going to be able to grab the kill onto Teddy. who does have Flash and Cleanse up and available. The Cleanse wouldn't be all that useful because he'll just die to basically anything hitting him. But they are still able to clear up these minions.
Willer's not even going to charge a Q. Not interested in even attempting. Teddy does have Flash as well, so even if it looked like it was going to hit, would have been able to flash it. But didn't want to stay too long channeling that spear. Just decides better. But I think that's a mature Pantheon decision. A lot of Pantheons, myself included, absolutely would have died trying to kill Teddy there.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Sticking around because
I'm like, why did I ult in? To kill Teddy. So I will right-click towards...
You're like, he's on like 30 health. The execute value is so high.
Yep. And then I'd immediately start complaining afterwards that, you know, somebody else made a mistake, and therefore it's not my fault.
Yes.
That I did the thing that definitely caused my own dehave.
Well, that's kind of rude. You shouldn't do that. I would have done everything except
afterwards.
that part.
I would afterwards, when I've said that, you know, in the initial emotional response, I would be like, hang on a second. Let's think about this rationally for a moment. And then I accept the blame. And then we move on from there.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
As long as you own up to it. It's
yeah. As Casting's going to be able to stun these ghouls that are sort of attacking him right now. Does have the Swifties now completed. It's going to feel a whole lot better for trying to avoid these morning mists. As the Maiden going to pop up and take a lot of damage here from Casting.
Get out of there, Maiden! No!
She only just spawned!
Man, I can't believe he picked Yorick.
Oh, no.
Clear counter pick of
gold.
Anivia, man. It is broken into Yorick, as we can see.
Well, going well so far, absolutely. He is one of the only gold advantages on the map right now for the Bros. I think a lot of it has to do with Casting just having a really good day today. To be honest, he's looking very, very good. His Rumble, phenomenal. And this Anivia working out well.
This Lucian, by the way, really is for Teddy. Like, he had a lot of setup early, but he's not controlling the tempo of this game anymore. It's Aiming who's constantly harassing and threatening him with this Karma pick. And the fact that they have this Pantheon ultimate always in tow makes it really difficult for Teddy to try to look for extended trades against Aiming's poke, because when the ult comes back up, he's going to be vulnerable. Speaking of vulnerable, maybe...
What's the idea here? Oh, Gideon. This is so cute. I don't think he's been spotted. There's the flash kick. Aiming going to get tagged and taken out in the mid lane once again.
And the shoe's on the other foot in terms of what I was just saying there, because it was, in fact, Aiming was putting the pressure on, and he gets punished.
Here's another one as Andil has to flash out of the between worlds. Now Willa does dive forward, looking to try and get some damage onto Roma here, who's waiting will help him move on out of there as Andil very close to dead himself. Roma going to get ushered out by Namgung and will be okay now. So the Bros even out the kill score and do a decent job evening out the gold as well.
It's the way that trading pattern went.
Yeah,
I think Gideon is just like, all right, I think there's an angle here.
이번에 볼게. 나 들켜서 볼게.
Gorgeous.
It's obviously the follow-up
Nice.
Q. He gets the kill as well with the Q execute. And that's another dead, overextended Aiming, although this time a little bit more forgivable because of the information he had than the Jin moment.
It was a really beautiful play around vision. I assume Willa didn't see him when he was walking over there. Do want to make sure that that is stated. If he was seen, then I think they probably should have been moving back a little bit sooner than that. But otherwise, really nicely played by the Bros. As Teddy now with a little bit of free time perhaps with this turret, as never mind. Aiming is able to get back. Rift Herald goes over to KRX, and 20 seconds until this second Dragon.
It's a really close game. You know, the Lucian didn't control the tempo that much. Gideon has a pretty nice lead right in this game, but it's 500. Like, he has 3 kills, but it's not like this Lee Sin is going to take over the game by any means. The Ezreal 2-item spike is still a ways away. The Lucian, who had an Essence Reaver, you know, in a lot of drafts would be controlling the pace of the game, but he really hasn't been able to in this game with the Aurora Burst either. So maybe this next Dragon fight will be the first big skirmish where they can get value out of this Lucian. Otherwise, we are looking at an Aiming 2-item spike pretty soon. They have Herald control as well, and Gideon has his eyes on the Annie.
Yeah, and that means that this Rift Herald is going to get a free charge. It's not going to take down the turret just yet. Teddy will be able to claim the 25 gold. The Drake is what they're looking for. Gideon on the Krugs. And he's been down here for a long time. Unseen right now. This Lee Sin has been playing some
stealth
covert ops.
Lee Sin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all right. Now looking for an option towards Roma. I believe Willa showed himself on the Scuttle Vision.
This is such a strange situation as Gideon is still behind enemy lines here. We'll be seen by this ward.
Yeah.
He wants to find aiming again.
Oh, I think he thinks that he's unseen. There's a flash over from Willa, and boom goes the Lee Sin. That should guarantee
when you're
the Drake for KRX.
When you're playing this tricky, sometimes you get caught, sometimes you get found out. He didn't the last time around. He got aiming then, but this time he is blown up. And unfortunately didn't have a sweeper because he's Lee Sin to know that he was on a ward because he wants to keep the trinket in order to maximize his mobility. One of the small weak points that you can have as Lee Sin in a moment like this where you think you're being tricky, but you're actually just hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, a little bit of a problematic scenario there. So that is going to be the Drake secured another Ocean Soul.
I feel like with this draft, it's hard to scrap with Lucian the way you want to. And they're just trying to resort to covert ops instead of trying to use this Essence Reaver power spike. So as a result, guess what? Aiming is on 2i. I'm sure he hasn't transformed yet, but he's about to. And Rion have kind of lost their little tempo window here.
Yeah, I would agree.
Game.
I do think that once they get into the teamfight phase, if they can play around this Anivia well, then things could work. But it reminds me a lot of the Gen G draft in game number 2 in our previous series. And that one just didn't quite work. Roma down here, though, is going to be able to get some damage on this outer turret. And we'll see whether the bros can pull themselves back up after this, because aiming just running amok in the mid lane will be able to take out this outer turret very comfortably.
He is
first turret blood over to KRX.
You know, when aiming plays checkers, he says "Gold King me" when he kills the structures instead.
He does
of
do that.
Me. It's kind of annoying to people who are playing checkers with him because they don't understand the reference, but he gets the first brick. Like, it's mid-turret that actually is the first to go down to an Ezreal who's just had control over this Lucian. He's really actually made a much larger impact here as Gideon once again.
Yeah, Frog is going between the worlds, kicked into the wall, and nowhere to go. Does have a lot of healing, so it takes some time, but he was never going to survive that one. Does not use the flash, though, so pretty smart stuff there from Frog. Sort of accepted his fate.
Well, Gideon finds another one. See if he can keep his team afloat in this game. Might be punished by Pantheon.
Yeah, Roma, let's see whether he can escape this. Does have flash, so I have a feeling he might be able to be tricky and get over it. Never mind, he's not going to use it. He's just going to die.
He's just going to give the kill over to aiming, in fact. And we're on the Kiwoom side. Pretty big eruption in the crowd there after that play. As it's looking more and more likely like this mid-game and the power of this composition for Bro just isn't really going to come online the way that it's intended to, the way that this draft intended it to. As we're going to see Frog come up here to defend this turret.
Gonna have to deal with the Glacial Storm, so even though he has completed the quest, he's running real fast, he's got his big old shield, he's not going to be able to catch up to casting at the moment. So you see this play once again as Frog takes a long time to die, but does eventually die.
Got the Froggy, all right, but look at what's happening on the main map. Critically, Teddy does not come down. However, who's down is Aiming and Pantheon, who has ult. So Aiming is coming down here naturally to catch the wave after they lost their top laner. And Romer just sacrifices himself so that the Lee Sin can escape. And even though he had flash, there were just too many members here. He didn't have his ult either to try to do some Pac-Man moves.
Wow, it's a lot of old game references in this particular broadcast. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, that's... Sorry, you're casting with me.
Yeah, it was always going to happen, wasn't it?
I mean, at least I didn't bring up, like, Balloon Fight yet, but...
That's true. What about Pilot Wings? They're going to be a reason to bring that up, because that game was pretty cool back
My parents really liked giving me Pilot Wings because they're like, unlike the other games with some of the violence, this one seems to be about landing on a platform.
Yeah, and you did do that over and over again.
Pilot Wings was miserable as a child, though, because it was very hard, and I wasn't good at it. I liked the platforming. That one I could do.
Well, looks like our top laners like platforming as well, because they're both building them all over the place. That was a pretty sick segue, I'm not going to lie.
That was pretty clean.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Let's just say you landed in the middle of the platform on that segue.
Yeah! I should go play Pilot Wings again. Where's my N64? All right, Casting does hit level 16, though. He has hit 10 stacks on his Rod of Ages. And Frog now finds himself in a 2-level deficit out of nowhere. It's sort of unfair, but it's the Rod of Ages really allowing Casting to rocket ahead as far as experience is concerned. We're going to have a level 20 bird very quickly.
You know, earlier today we had that T1 game where I was like, wow, this is like the most dominant 1.5K gold lead I've ever seen. This is not that. This is like 1.5K gold lead, almost accidentally. Aiming's been spoon-fed some kills here. It's like basically only his lead right now in this game. He hit 2 items, but bro, the thing is they're just not able to utilize their comp the way that it's like the Essence Reaver was kind of missed that spike there. He's got rapid fire cannon, but there just isn't a lot of setup for him. Gideon is the engage because they're running this Milio lane. There isn't really anything else besides this Lee Sin, so if he can't find the angle, this Ezreal is so safe. He's so free to just kind of poke and do damage.
Is Willa safe, though? That's the question, as he's taking a whole bunch of pokes, standing in the Glacial Storm. Does eventually have to flash to get out of there. Frog's moving up. Is the Ghoulie Wall going to land? As the Morning Mist is going to connect. Teddy still dashing forward. Crystallize just barely missing onto Aiming there, who Arcane shifts forward once again. Looking for angles towards Namgung. The Mystic Shot's really hurting. True Shot Barrage doing the same thing. Here's the man drop as Willa goes forward one more time. Gets kicked back, and the culling is eaten by everyone. Casting down to the egg. Frog still looking healthy, and so is Teddy. But the bear comes through. The ulti from Namgung is a little bit late as the bear is burning Teddy down. He needs another relentless pursuit, but he is not going to be fighting for his team anymore. And KRX, I mean, they lose one, but their health bars are looking a whole lot better.
Yeah, they get a kill, but they lose the fight. They're not actually able to push any further. They're all going to have to retreat. They get a Maiden here for their troubles, as again, this is just a terrible matchup for the Maiden, at least.
Yeah, the Maiden gets hard counted. I'm not sure about the Yorick.
Yeah, the Yorik's doing all right, but okay. The target selection was very messy in that exchange for KRX. When Willer ulted, I was like, what's his plan here? And then he focused down Gideon, who's incredibly mobile and very far away from the damage dealers. So he went very deep and I think didn't necessarily have a plan. He just knew he wanted to go in. So I don't think we should watch that replay because it would be very silly. Meanwhile, we're set up for another dragon fight here. Amy's got his ult back, but the rest of the team, not so much. We don't have Tibbers just yet here for UCal, getting closer and closer.
Yeah, Frog missing out on the Maiden as well as the Morning Mist isn't going to land. Does put Casting in the pen, and Willer is going to join him there. Flash out from the bird. Oh my goodness, the damage! Doesn't have egg, just popped like a balloon.
Yeah, there's a lot of engage here, by the way, as it turns out for KRX. They got Annie, they got a Pantheon, but they also got Ghoulie Wall! And that True Shot Barrage cut the donut in half.
I like that.
Well, the health bar,
that was a good one.
The person inside the zombie donut.
Yeah, no, we got it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Aiming this damage on an Namgung, like, he was out of the fight already.
Willer is going super deep with Frog, and then Gideon just kicks back the Pantheon, and then Willer's like, oh, this seems to be a bad time. And then Gideon's chasing Frog. Well, the rest of the team is like, we should kill the carries, so they don't kill Frog. They don't get Aiming or UCal, and Aiming and UCal are trying to chase down Bro, and nobody else dies outside the Pantheon. But here on the side, Casting finally is actually countered the other way. Can't get out, gets stunned again, gets True Shot, and bye-bye Birdie.
And that's it. That's the end of the engage. And I think that the Bros have learnt, maybe don't engage onto the Yorick because he takes a long time to kill.
Yeah.
They just don't quite have the damage to do so. Teddy very close to Infinity Edge, though, so that is going to be the beginnings of big damage for him. Aiming does have his first 3 items done. And so the Ezreal, looking pretty scary, went for the Endless Hunger instead of the Spirit of Sojin. As Casting will be able to finish off this outer turret to grab the first one for the Bros. And even though, you know, it's Soul Point for KRX, it's only an Ocean Drake, right? And yes, that'll be a very annoying thing for Frog, right? Like the Bros dealing with Frog as a result of that Soul coming in, that'll be a worrisome situation. But Ocean isn't the biggest of deals. There is already an Oblivion Orb here for Casting, who's going to be putting that Glacial Storm down for everyone to deal with.
The Dragon, honestly, at this point, is just an Elder Spawner. Effectively in this game. And Bro just don't seem able to win traditional team fights in this game. And so every time we watch these fights, including the one where they just got a kill in the mid lane, but lost the fight, you're left wondering if they can do it, if they know how to do it. Does anyone know how to run this composition? It's quite a weird one, but Bro definitely looking a little bit lost in terms of actual impactful team fights, even though only 1,000 gold behind. Gideon over here for the contest. This is not a secured Baron by any means here, as Gideon is Lee Sin. They do have some vision in the pit. It will be cleared. Let's see if they decide to go in.
Double teleports coming down onto this ward as Namgung looking very, very low. There is the Maiden being attacked as they put Roamer in the goalie. Well, Namgung in a lot of trouble but keeps himself alive. They pull off the Baron but lose their jungler. Now Frog's in trouble and Teddy making this Infinity Edge work, man.
They tried to send Willer to kill the enemy jungler so he could secure the Baron, but the exact opposite occurs. As he's focused down, they lose the Baron. And this game is just peak comedy.
Oh, it is. We are broing and brewing like we never have before in the original matchup that spawned it. Oh, it's gorgeous. I like how there's so much downtime, but then there's also just weird and wacky.
All right, look at this. He goes in on the on the Namgung, and not even Gideon. Gideon's the one who kills him, but he wanted to taxi in to try to deny any sort of 50-50 here. But the rest of the team couldn't follow up, so he was a one-way ticket.
It felt like Yukal was looking for a flank angle, and then Willer just went in that little bit too early. Because if there was a flash Tivers, then that play looks amazing.
Yeah, instead, it's like, ooh, we just gave the lead to Bro.
Yeah, and for the first time so far this game, and there's a minute and a half left on this Dragon, maybe it's time for the Bros to start stacking up some Oceans. As Gideon gets a GA as well. That is actually going to be a huge deal for providing a little bit of frontline here for the team.
Look at how, look at the mini-map. It's Willer and his kill squad running around trying to find people, but Bro are like, nah, I'm not crossing the outer turret point. I'm just not going to give you any kills. And KRX are not starting up Baron again. They're not trying to look for a turn. They're just trying to see if anyone will walk into Pantheon's engage range, and the answer is a pretty resounding no.
Nope.
Andre Brion are like, yeah, that Pantheon's kind of a problem for us. Let's stay away from him and just farm it up. And so as well, we have a pretty quiet state of the game here.
And Trisha Barrage is going to connect. There's the culling, is aiming. Arcane shifting forward. Structures being built all over the place. Bro having to contend with Fortnite happening at the bottom side of the screen as KRX will back away towards this this Ocean Drake pit. They have reformed now though as KRX being set up on one more time. Crystallize goes down. Frog now down to half health as Roma bounces out of the goalie wall. Willer there with the Aegis, but now has that one on cooldown as Teddy will clear out this wave. And, oh my goodness, Andal taking a lot of damage. They go between the worlds. Aiming takes a lot of damage from that one. There's the flash kick back onto Willer. His health bar is going to explode. The last shot there from Teddy. Fantastic. As now this Glacial Storm is blocking the rest of KRX from getting in. And without a smite, I do not think they're getting a soul off the back of this one.
And Frog is going in. They're trying to get hit.
Now the fight is down. Casting goes to the egg. Do they have enough damage? Yes, they do. Still, Roma gets a lot of AoE in there. Gideon locks down the Dragon. Can they get out, though? As Teddy will be taken out by the Pyroblast. Aiming, gets over the wall. The Mystic shots are raining down. He flashes over. Roma's taken out for a double for Yukal. And KRX, even though they miss out on the Drake, they will win the fight.
That's Rise Group, baby!
Oh my goodness.
Got the kill! They did it! They got the one pick! They got the jungler! They did it in a 5-minute standoff like that Dragon. But then Frog was able to just kind of keep walking at them, and eventually they start getting picked off piecemeal one by one. And Bro fall apart. Their gold lead swings back to KRX. A Baron will go over. They deny Ocean Soul. And the game just keeps going from here.
It does. So, the Baron will go over, and KRX will have it on everyone. But let's check this fight out one more time.
Willer gets flash kicked by Gideon. Takes a little while for him to go down. Frog's applying damage on the other side. Look at how much poke Frog actually layers in here. Now you can't chase down the Ezreal. This wall could have been game-changing, but not able to catch aiming there. And now both carries are like, all right, Frog's going in. Look at casting Isolate while Teddy and Gideon are like completely on a different page, trying to focus down a Baron that's at like 6k health.
Oh, so then Teddy was just trying to kill the Dragon.
Yeah, and they got the Dragon, but then he dies to Yukal's Q here. Namgung's incredibly low. Aiming has full control, can go over this wall here with a flash, and they line up and knock over the dominoes. So it's like, you look at some of these players' score lines, you're like, Yukal, 3-0 and 4, 600 gold lead, 1,400 gold lead for Teddy. Then you look at the goal at the top of your screen in a 31.5-minute game, you're like, well, that's only 1,600 because the top side has a lead as well. Gideon has so many kills, but the Lee Sin is just not using the gold as well here as Aiming is in this game. Not to mention his lead isn't as big either.
And this time, Aiming is doing the damage. It's him that's doubling Teddy approximately on the back end of this one. So nicely done so far for KMDRX as the bear goes wide. There are a lot of like NPCs that can be thrown down by KMDRX as there is the turn on to Roma and he just explodes. Actually takes himself between worlds and would prefer to be back on this particular plane. They are going to break over the mace.
Yeah, they're going to push to potentially end this game. Romer's not up for 45 seconds. We are super late in this game. As it's been a slow one, but it ended with a bang.
Look at this.
It looks like we're going the
army
distance.
Of siege minions here. There are 3 cannons walking towards these Nexus turrets, and my goodness, Aiming does so much damage to these structures. As Gideon looking to go in, doesn't have his flash, but does have the kick. As Teddy tidies up the minions at least with the culling and does a bit of damage to Aiming. So that will be 1 Nexus turret falling, and the inhibitor turret in this bottom lane will be falling down as well. Mid lane is open, the Glacial Storm comes down, and the Bros may live to fight one more day, but their base may not.
All right, they are going to survive, but 2 inhibs down. And if anybody dies here, it's just over. True Shot, decent damage. UCal, no flash, but is closing the gap here for a potential Tibbers setup.
Yeah, Roma just trying to kill these minions as best he can. There are circles all over the place here for the Bros. And it looks like KMDRX are just going to back away. Pretty good play, right? 5,000 gold for the Red Bull Baron power play, 20 seconds to go.
Biggest gold lead of the game so far. Crazy, crazy. I mean, this is after a really long game 1 where,
yeah,
unfortunately, Hanjin and Breon took a really long time to close that one out. They ultimately did do it. It was not a turnaround from UCal's Cassiopeia. This feels like the opposite side of game 1, except it's Gideon who's trying to get everything done and has been the only one who's been able to consistently get things done in this game, but he's a Lee Sin, so he doesn't really have that late game scaling power. And I think KMDRX, there is no way they lose from here, right? I mean, they have such a massive lead now. This Ezreal is just untouchable. And, I mean, the setup is pretty simple. They've got Pantheon with map control. They've got an Annie. Just look for another turn on the next Baron or this Ocean Soul fight, which is arguably less important, frankly, than the Baron with 2 inhibitors down. They're just going to continue to group and look to actually siege up that top side while they 4-1.
Yeah, and the Bros were given a little bit of respite, but I think KMDRX did the right thing where they just say, I don't care about your brush camp. We're just going to push this super minion wave into your base. As Teddy taking a lot of damage here. Another minion wave does conga line out.
He also has TP, so even though he's relatively far away, he could have just TP'd at any moment. He is just going to get the group up here to actually start sieging this top inhibitor turret.
Oh, bit of poke damage there from the Bros, but not looking like it's going to be enough. The Median is just going to be annoyed by the Crystallize once again.
I see a on the way ping from Willer to the Dragon. He's like, okay, we're not. This game is going to go on a little bit longer. Going to go down here and take the Ocean Soul that no one really cared about.
Oh, Gideon.
Gideon is invisible this game.
Yeah, did he manage to sneak that whole way there?
He gave the blindfold to KMDRX.
He does get spotted here on this control ward, though, as KMDRX are now just going to look for him. He does have information about where they're going as Aiming gets over. Tagged by the Q here. And if anyone was closer, it might have been an option as, yeah, the rest of the Bros do turn up. There's a Crystallize to block Willer out.
It's not worth it.
Dragon.
It's just an Ocean Soul. It's okay, KMDRX.
All right, well, the TP does go down. The culling's fantastic, but the Frog is just going back to the base. Aurora going to show up. They deny the soul, and the Bros look to escape. Willer a bit worse for wear, but he's still ulting in. As Namgun, can he keep his teammates alive? Willer is so close to dead, but the bear flies down. True Shot barrage onto 4, and Frog pulls out the shovel and looks to dig the grave for the Bros here in game number 2.
They finally close the door. Nothing left in this Nexus turret. Romer doing his best to try to get to the back line.
He'll get there, but that's also where he'll stay as a corpse. The Nexus will then be taken down, and KMDRX, they'll bring us to game number 3.
The Rise group matchup we deserve today as Aiming strikes back in a big way on his Ezreal here in this second game, but also A big performance, a big glow up from Frog, who has had some tough games so far here in round 3. Even though the early matchup didn't work out, his impact in team fights, his flanking, set up so much of what they were trying to do. But the unsung, well, maybe quite sung heroes, the true heroes, I should say, were mid-jungle, right? With the Pantheon and the Annie setting up so many of those picks. And in the final moments, Willer and Yukal sent it in together. Yukal TP'd mid, Willer followed with the ult, and Frog closed the door on the wraparound as aiming crests 41,000 damage. We are going to a decisive game 3. The Rise group is so close. Right now, just one win separating these two. 6 for Bro, 5 for KRX. QM looking to tie it up.
And this is also where the DN Supers hopes may die. If KRX are actually able to win this series with another victory. So we'll see as we go to a short break. The Space going to break down that game, and then we'll have the last one of the night. Stay tuned.
본진 될 때 생각해. 본진 될 본진 될
가자. 천천히.
얘도 본진 텔이야.
나 못 밀어 내가 애니 풀로. 두더 맞아.
야 리셋.
천천히.
나산 주는데.
야나 디테일 살게. 디테일 때까 하나만 기다려.
옐로 찍.
하나만 나 디테일이야. 이신 노궁이야.
위에서 쪼인 중. 루시안. 루시안 잡았어.
야 끝내자. 가자. 나 풀 20초야. 쭉 가면 될 듯? 얘 지금 못 갔어 이거. 지금 못 가. 바로 끝내. 보고. 끝내자. 나이스요. 나이스요.
The strong stuff, and then you use the next tier of strong stuff. And when you're already like 2 matches deep, then there's 20 strong stuff missing.
I think one of the big picks that no one's really talking about right now going into this draft, well, 2 of them are support picks. They are Bard and Leona. There's not a lot of it engaged. If you want to win that bottom lane, you're going to want to have that Bard pick. They're going to ban it, so that one's off the table. Poppy also technically could be a support, but is also banned, generally strong in the jungle right now.
Orianna, I'm going to write in right now as the next ban, and then I'll just write in the lock ban to immediately follow up. And then there will be a Vi ban in the next.
I think the Vi ban might be Hanjin's.
Oh, it's Xin Zhao instead. Okay, never mind. I'll just cross that out. Use that cross as an X to write Xin.
What if they leave both Orianna and Lock up?
That'd be crazy. Well, I mean,
I don't know if
we're going to have to leave something up.
Lock doesn't necessarily work unless you have a really strong bottom lane and a matchup you really enjoy in the mid lane that you can get out of to roam. So,
do they maybe ban Vi here? Because I think if you either want to get the Lock or the Vi, as, okay, never mind, they might make it a trade. That'd be kind of crazy.
I think that might be where we're headed.
We did see in the previous series that Lock went all the way through the first round of picks.
Goes like this, first pick does feel very valuable.
Yeah.
And I think this puts KRX in a position where they're going to actually not allow the trade and just give Vi over.
I don't know whether that is the right play here, but we'll see whether they get punished for it.
They banned Xin.
Yeah, so the Vi should be going over to Gideon here.
I don't see any
too much of a
downside.
response.
Yeah, I don't see any downside to that right now. It's a very safe blind pick in this fearless situation.
And the Fury's already gone.
Don't you dare first pick Victor. Okay, that's not allowed.
Well, it's going to be Vi. It takes them a very long time to find it.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion, I think, about what they do next with this, because fearless gets really complicated in these types of situations. So if you know you're going to pick Vi no matter what, you don't want to slam lock it. You want to use as much time as possible to actually consider all outcomes. And if I'm KRX, I'm most concerned about my outcome right now, because they got Vi, and the response isn't necessarily that inspiring, because Rise is not doing very well right now. Did see Faker pick up a win on it, but was like 0-5 for most of that game. Yeah, that's the first win for Rise in round 3. Nocturne going to be the response here. No Pantheon, but they have the next best global jungler to pair with the Realm Warp. So up engage range here, and does weaken a lot of those immobile 80 carries that are left in the pool.
I assume that an Ahri pick should be pretty comfortable here, or a Taliyah for Roamer as well.
I like Taliyah more into the Rise.
Yep, answer the roams quite effectively. So they might just lock that one away. I wonder whether then they'll go towards a casting pick, but the Victor is the choice instead.
Surprised by this.
Could be Teddy's pick, of course, but we'll just have to see exactly where it is going.
So we're going to see a casting blind pick now. Can be protected, but... Oh, just the Alistar, okay.
So Vi, Victor, and Alistar. Bit of an arcane vibe at the beginning of this, but not on the KRX side.
Ando pick, is he just going to go for the Leona dive type setup here into this? Or do they have something else in mind? Could be going for... We're looking for engage, like Rakan is still available. Nar's going to be blinded here this time by Frog, since that wasn't taken by casting there. Now they can protect it on the other side.
I think you need to ban Varus and Vayne, absolutely, but you will get Tristana'd.
By the way, consider also that they have a Nocturne, so the Nocturne isn't really going to be able to help out. He's not going to have the same amount of power as a Vi in the early levels, so this is a really risky call that I can't really get behind.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
On the other side, casting could have blinded the Gnar and I would have felt good about it, but this way, when the Vi's on the other side, just feels like you're asking for trouble.
It's a scary prospect. The Olaf going to be taken away instead of the Varus. I'm not worried about that one as much as they are the Viking. And so one final ban to come through here for the Bros. See what they do want to take away, whether they target aiming here a little bit, whether it is going to be something else. Might be more supports.
Because they have the Alistar, I think they can fairly comfortably go for that Varus you were talking about. Hanjin Brion, that Rakan I mentioned is going to be taken away, which leaves us really with Leona maybe as the only way to set up some dive here with this Nocturne.
The Rel is another option.
Misfortune Rel doesn't really feel that great in this draft. Shen, I guess, is one that we haven't really talked about, but is a form of engage.
Yeah, Ninja Delivery as well with the Paranoia. I like that one a lot. There's the Taliyah we were talking about. So the bot lane Victor is almost confirmed.
A lot of damage here.
Just give me Taliyah Tristana, and I'm very happy with what the Bros have put together.
I am too, because I think the Tristana is pretty safe here into this draft.
Yep.
It's low range at the moment, even though it has a long engage range with the Nocturne.
And if they Realm Warp in, you can basically guarantee to Buster Shot all of them away. Like, it's kind of crazy, the disengage that you have.
It's up to casting and his confidence. His face doesn't fill me with confidence at the moment about the discussion, but see what he decides to do.
Hopefully he's been putting in some time on the
I mean, you've got to be. It's such an important counter pick to have in your wheelhouse right now.
Also, she's been around for like 15 years.
Yeah.
So there's no real excuse.
Ooh, this isn't it.
That's not what I'd choose myself, but that is going to be the Renekton lock-in.
I mean, it's one of his best picks, so Comfort, I guess, wins out. But
has been doing better in our matchup as well.
I am very happy with this when I see that Renekton, because otherwise you were so worried about, like, Wheeler's like, I can't help you out, by the way, so don't mess it up. As aiming, we'll just do the aiming thing and pull out the Sivir, even into the Alistar. Just going to look for scaling. Sivir Rise, so much wave clear, so much power. They have triple global. You can follow that Rise and the Nocturne with the stand united. to any fight on any place on the map. I feel like for me, for Hanjin Brion, the draft has a lot of dive. It's got a lot of step. It's got a lot of layer of CC. But it needed that early jungle power and the ability to shut this Gnar down early because the scaling on QM's side is so strong. I have to give a big edge to QM. I think that the miss of putting the Renekton topside here into the Gnar is just too volatile for me. I can't trust, especially after how Bro played game 2, that Hanjin are going to be able to slam dunk this one. The coordination wasn't good enough for me.
Well, they're going to need a lot of coordination if they're going to win this one because there is so much chain CC. Out of the Bros, they could theoretically, you know, just lock down a single target and absolutely obliterate them at a moment's notice. The question is whether they can do that, because if they fail, then aiming kills everyone, right? Ricochets go all over the team. They don't have the range, and it could be a really tough time. And on the hunt value is actually gigantic.
It's
in this composition as well.
They are just going to be going to kill whoever they want, whenever they want. And if this Ryze gets the 3 items, you can kiss your chances of winning this 3rd game goodbye.
Well, they'll have to make sure that it happens as the Bros are tenacious and see whether they can actually turn this composition into a win as we get onto the Rift for game number 3. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the 3rd and final game of the series. Our last game of the night. As the Bros already set up here. There was a little question mark as to whether it was going to be Teddy or Roma playing the Talia or the Victor. This is what we assumed would be the choice. As, okay, there's a taunt in onto Andal. Not sure about it, as we do have Casting moving over, but they do get the ward into the brush.
I want to remind these two teams, Casting didn't pick Tristana, so we don't have to do all of this, but we are doing it. And it is not really working for KRX right now.
There's another Pulverize, as Gideon is going to be able to take down all of his Raptors, and KRX just going to donate their health bars as they watch the first camp get taken.
Not a fun time for Teddy in this lane, which I think is part of why Bro were trying to make something happen with Alistar at level 1 on the top side of the map. They did get a lot of work done, and in part because of Namgung himself, but he misses this pull.
Yeah, it's a great sidestep there from Andal, actually, as Namgung just going to get chased down here momentarily. With Shadow Dash first, you don't have the damage from the Shen, but Namgung is going to be okay for the moment. Aiming, not so much, as Teddy just trading a little bit better here towards his bottom side, utilizing that extra shield that he does have. Heal comes out from Namgung, pretty happy to press that button, as he was looking a little worse for wear, as Casting. You were talking about this.
He's good at this champion.
One of his favorite champs. Yeah. And definitely trading well so far. We have seen in the early levels Renektons do quite well into the Gnar matchup, but it's as the game goes later and later that things can get a little bit more problematic. All right, the Bro's going for a freeze here towards his bottom side, as aiming may not actually be able to go for a back.
I don't know how he got so low at level 1. He might have taken a turret shot somehow. So we kind of came in a little bit late. I don't think that's the case, but
I think Teddy just hit him with a whole bunch of Qs.
That's got to, I mean, that's the only explanation if he didn't get hit by a turret shot at level 1, because Sivir has auto attacks and Victor technically does, but they don't hurt.
Yeah, there's a nice double pull there from Namgung. As Teddy once again going to be finding that Q. The Death Ray is not going to hit the mark, but that is okay. Just going to convince them to leave.
Yeah, this is going to be a back here from aiming. Doesn't feel great. Well, I have to head back to lane as soon as possible. Grabs a cull. Not going to ghost back to lane, but won't get as fast as he can.
Yeah, and Teddy has teleport, actually, so he can go for a Cheetah recall pretty comfortably as they make sure that this wave does crash, not wanting Andal to catch it. As Pulverize, I mean, he has to get out of here. That's a lot of damage. So, yes, the minions are going to largely fall over, but aiming does at least get here, take away a few of them.
They could stop a back here. I don't even think it would necessarily be advantageous as the support has to leave. Andal has to go back, so.
Ooh, Namgung's first Alistar game. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, we don't see that much Alistar this year. It's been more recent after, obviously, Bro were, unfortunately for them, eliminated in Road to MSI. It's been a really long time since they played. Alistar's been coming up a little bit more these days as It is an engaged support technically, just not really the flavor of Namgung because he likes to do the ones that do damage. I think you put it best earlier.
Yep.
Alistair doesn't do a whole lot of that. Not current year anyways.
He's been headbutting some players around though quite nicely. His Gravity Well does come on through here. Ravenous Hunter is going to... Wait, is it Ruthless Predator?
Yeah.
That's the W. It's a really silly name that I probably shouldn't say. But anyway, he is going to be able to stun Frog after the hop.
Wait, it's not Ruthless?
Ruthless?
Ruthless? It's not Ruthless?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. It was Ruth the whole time, like Babe Ruth. Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I always thought it was Ruthless Predator. He didn't have any Ruths, so he was really upset about it and went for the stun.
Yeah, what you going to do? Sometimes we just don't have enough Ruths to give.
Yeah.
It's all right. The bros, I'll just, once again, hold this wave. This is just really annoying.
Yeah, it is. And Victor could do this so well. He's very safe. Gets a shield from his Q. Is just chilling, man. He can get the extra auto in to secure minions.
And the gravity field can be really annoying for Shen as well. So whenever you're shadow dashing forward, Teddy's able to just press that button, and things can get really rough as, aiming takes half of his health bar here. The spell shield not exactly being the most helpful.
It's funny because normally the Victor can't go toe. Okay, UCal may be in serious trouble.
Yeah, this is not where he wants to be. Seismic Shove needs to be flashed. Does at least do that, but uses every summoner spell available.
Well, I was going to say that, like, normally the Victor doesn't get to actually trade aggressively with most AD carries because it just doesn't have the same damage throughput, especially with an Alistair in the lane. But because of how the level 1 went and the tempo they've had ever since, if you look at the inventories here, you know, we have a slingshot now for aiming, which isn't really good news, but it's been 2 amp totems compared to a call. So Teddy actually has that AP to even hit with his Qs a little bit harder in those little bursty trades. And he's just having such a good time right now.
This is perfect positioning here as Namgung comes in, spots out Willa, and Gideon wanting to hit that level 6 as Willa does have control of the crab. Bolt Breaker doesn't get them out of there. Headbutt Pulverize onto the Flashless Rise, but Paranoia comes in. He did manage to take down that crab, and now Willa, he's got a spell shield. He's going to take down Gideon, and first blood goes over to the Shen. Roma now, can he actually land another shove? The answer is no, as Teddy just slowly lumbering his way over. He's there too late, and KRX off to a great start.
Do you know what the passive of Nocturne is called when he does a little spin?
Umbral Blade.
Umbral Blade, thank you. I know you're the only person in the world know. The Umbral Blade value in that skirmish was pretty high, actually.
Yeah.
You know, normally it's just kind of a little wave clear thing, but that was actually some AoE champion damage. Teddy's going to have to flash. This is kind of normally how the Sivir versus Victor goes, where the Victor presses his buttons, but the Sivir keeps hitting the Victor. And so this time Teddy has to flash. But this is the timing which level 6 is hit for the Nocturne, and they don't have enough damage to actually burst UCal down here despite trying. And then look at that. Big damage from the cleave here from Willer in this extended fight. Romer is just forced away. Namgung is too low. Teddy forced a flash in the aftermath as well.
Oh, good sidestep there from Casting as we come back to live. Frog having a good time though, as you can see, 50 gold in the lead. The CS is pretty close. But Casting just having to navigate this difficult stage of the matchup now. I'm going moving towards this mid lane that isn't going to be able to find an angle.
The good
and
news,
at least now Gideon does have level 6.
Good news for Breon is that was a Shen kill. As Realm Warp coming in, Teddy is pretty far forward.
Yeah, Arcane Storm goes down. He realizes that he is going to have to try and kill aiming because he is definitely going to die to UCal. And now just going to deal with the wave where he can... Doesn't have flash, so didn't even have the opportunity to use it because he used it to escape aiming before.
Losing the dragon as well. Now, some extra push here for Romer, but I do think QMDRX, because they get the dragon, are feeling pretty happy about this. The happiest person, though, is Gideon, because he's getting his grubs. He has been out-camped a little bit in this game, and we'll at least be able to get these back. A lot of money lost in the mid lane here for QMDRX because of that play bottom side, but again, I think worth it. I think because of the wave and the consequence of a roam like that from UCal, Teddy just didn't see it coming. The team weren't able to communicate that was a possibility, so he was trying to push forward there. But without the flash from the previous play from aiming, he is going to die.
Yep. It's always a surprise when the mid laner just straight up drops a wave, right?
Yeah.
There was certainly the cross map available there for the bros. So Teddy just caught off guard there just a little bit. He does now have his burn urn building towards his Blackfire Torch as Andal is spotted on that ward. Namgung is looking to try and push him away, but Paranoia up and available again here for Willa as we zoom out. This is a scary moment. Yukal moving down once again. No Realm Warp this time. Might be able to just run his way down. As the bros...
Yeah, Roamer has Weaver's Wall, right? I mean, he could try to follow some of these plays. Last time, obviously, would have been futile, but this
maybe
is part of why I think they're not...
angled top side is Roamer.
Yeah.
As he did cheat up there, but does just move back to catch the wave. And
It's
the bros,
still-
I think they know that this is a dangerous time.
It's still level 1 Weaver's Wall. It still doesn't go that far, and the Nara's sitting close to turret, so it would have been tough for Roamer there. You know, it's... Casting starting to lose a little bit of control over this lane. Was doing a lot in the early levels, of course, but Frog is starting to bounce back, or like leap back a little bit. A little hopping happening.
X-Blade is done for Willa already.
Yeah, he got that early assist. Obviously, that's a lot of extra farm he's picked up too in this game, and his cooldown is going to start getting reduced if he can get a few more takedowns, start stacking that ultimate hunter.
Yeah, pings here onto Teddy on the top side of the map. I have a feeling that KRX actually spotted him.
Yukal coming up for the defense as well, and this is a mega, so it's going to take a little while here. And Willer has ult, so this could backfire in a huge way for Bro, especially with no wave. They're just going to have to walk away. A lot of time wasted.
Yeah, and Teddy actually snagged by the Q here. So Frog, good heads-up play, but great ward in that brush to make sure that he spotted it out. And so now KRX, with so much tempo here in this game, being able to take a couple of plates here towards his bottom side, extend that gold advantage. Like, look at how many more creeps he was able to take. Like, it is absolutely absurd.
He has 1,000 gold, the advantage now over Teddy. And in mid, they just let Andale push the wave, so a few minions were lost there as well for Roamer. Nothing crazy, but they have that first dragon, 2.5 minutes until the second. And this Sivir is a bit of a problem. A little bit early in this game, and that call hasn't even cashed in yet. We're 16 minions away from it, and that lead will even get bigger. As you can see, Casting is even not going to enjoy it with the steel caps on.
Yeah, this is a very scary time of the game for the bros. 2.2k the advantage, actually. And that lane swap, really not what the bros wanted. As Casting dashing around will be able to at least clear out what was left of that previous wave. And another one is now conga lining forward and aiming. Just slinking back off into the fog of war. Willis stealing away a Grump very comfortably. Look at this. Gideon and Roma, both of them just going back to base, realizing that they just cannot do anything about this. No camps left on Bro's side. And so this, what is it, almost 4-camp lead that Willa has, soon to be 5.
He's just out farming. Teddy is getting out farmed. And right now, there's just no agency for Hanjin Brion. This Victor is really going to take a long time before he's going to be able to put out the damage numbers they want. And this Vi Talia has 0 that they have been able to do together. No setups, nothing.
We haven't even seen a cease and desist yet from Gideon.
We just saw one flash forced by a shove from Roamer, and otherwise the two of them have been practically invisible outside of obviously the first death for Gideon.
Yeah, so at least Roamer does get himself to a slight gold advantage by picking up that wave. Yukal has been dropping waves to make sure that aiming gets as fed as possible. Casting going to shove this wave towards him, and that crystalline overgrowth still there, just building up. Just doesn't look like the bros are going to be able to get towards this turret anytime soon. Only 1 plate remaining on the bottom outer turret, and this is just more and more money pouring in towards KRX. And we were talking about it in the draft, and I feel like it's just kind of gone that way.
Look at
and
the
it makes me sad.
For aiming, because he got his roll quest, and he's got to be actually significantly further away than you normally be at 13 minutes here because of all the time he spent topside. He just isn't getting that extra gold on minion, whereas aiming's had it for so long. That's a huge part of his lead, plus the plates. He's just huge right now.
Yeah, so Teddy is going to be able to go back to base. See what he can actually purchase here. Blackfire Torch is done. So they have 2 of those. And teleports to the mid lane, will be able to pick up that wave, but needs to head towards the bottom side to complete that quest.
Is just fully under control of QMDRX as well. They're looking to take it. Double Dragon. No prio anywhere. Nothing, not even a modicum of control or power anywhere for Hanjin Brion with this draft. And the game state, they just cannot use their Vi Talia. and they don't have any control. And this Renekton pick, I don't know if it were Tristana, it would have necessarily solved the game, but maybe they would have had a pressure point there, but they don't have that either.
Yeah, maybe then they'd have like a pseudo bot lane that they could use, leave Teddy on the bottom lane, and then have that Tristana to try and add that bit of extra consistent damage. But it's mainly for team fights later on that we'd be talking about. Maybe Frog would be having a worse time in that matchup, because this feels a little bit more like a concede type scenario with the Renekton, even though right now he's doing absolutely fine. The Tristana is more like a hard winning lane.
The aiming farming numbers.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
Massively ahead of the clock. You mentioned UCal dropped some waves for him to pick up as well, but this is like serious Gold King material here. He doesn't even have any kills, but he is so large, so quickly. You can see just how quickly he cuts through those waves with his Ricochet.
And he's taken a bunch of turret plates as well. Like, so much of this is his access to turrets. And that play towards the top lane from the bros really not working out.
And Teddy still doesn't have his role quest yet.
Yeah, I mean, hasn't been bot lane. Everybody else has been bot lane instead. So the teleport in from casting, he will be able to head up here and at least clear out these minions. But this will...
they got first brick.
Yeah.
All right.
So there is that. They do pull a little bit of the money back.
That was the Vitalia value hitting the turret down the bottom side together.
So when will Teddy complete this quest? That's my question.
Yeah, he's looking like Johnny Quest right now. He's going to be questing for a while.
Yeah. Maybe it's one of those fetch quests. It's just going to sit in his inventory forever. He knows that he should do it, but man, you just don't want to. There's just not as much dopamine there.
It's
definitely should, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is rough. Like, they have no control here.
Yeah, Paranoia comes in. The cow sitting at 50%. Level 7, though, so it does have that unbreakable will. And Teddy, please go to the bottom lane, sir. Just want that to happen.
Eventually, he'll get it by the matter of the game time passing. That does help for getting it.
Yeah.
But, like, every single minion killed after you get it, plus the actual completion gold, matters. So he'll just be missing out the longer this game goes on without him having it. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but
it's pretty close.
It's not good. I mean, I'm sure he'll get it before he would have filled his whole inventory with items, so he actually gets the extra boot spot.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. In terms of the quest, it's not that big of a deal, but the rest of the map is quite a big deal. The fact that aiming is pretty huge is a problem, as this taunt could also be a problem for Namgu.
Yep, there's the pulverizers. Andal's taking a lot of damage. Gravity Well goes down. There's the weave as well. Namgun gets the headbutt back onto Andal, who does flash away. And now the rest of them are looking to take down the cow. They do so. Cease and assist onto the escaping Shen. I imagine there's probably a better use for that one, as it's a trade of supports, but the Rift Herald is bearing down on this mid lane. We'll be able to get a big old charge, and KRX, there is still a minute and a half left until this Dragon, but they are in such a good position here in this game.
They really, really are. 2 kills here to UCal on this rise. His lead is starting to form as well. And now we're looking for a bit of a response scuttle take here from Preon.
There you go.
As Frog is taking another plate here on the bottom side. No turret yet for KRX, who are 2.5k ahead. But with all the damage they've done, they're about to get likely 3 turrets worth of local gold to add to that. As aiming is about to be, I mean, he and UCal are like, it's Mage Ricochet and it's normal Ricochet. It's time to just rip through all the health bars of this low-range composition that doesn't have an 80 carry. I think this draft for Bro, I mean, I said it at the outset, I think it is very, very tough to find success with something like this, but they've already fallen so far behind so early that...
I mean, it does just require so much coordination and control, right? Everyone has to be sort of standing in place, getting pulverized, getting shoved back, and it has to be one of aiming or UCal that dies very early in these fights. As this even the Rift Herald goes down in the middle of this fight, which
I mean, you mentioned it. The fact that the ult is used on the Shen as almost an escape for the Vi in itself just shows the state of the game. Like, they don't have any agency. They can't ult anybody aggressively. There wasn't really a proper play there.
And Teddy built a Rod of Ages second. That's wacky. But at least he did complete it, so it might be finished by the end of the game.
Oh, I think he realizes he's a level behind, so he needs to catch up.
There you go. That'll do it.
I don't really think it's a very strong choice right now, but...
Well, I also think that the Bros are just in a little bit of a rough state right now, as Willa doesn't quite spot Gideon going back, but it looks like this Dragon is on their mind. Casting, not going to be able to defend this turret. It is very, very low already. Namgun can at least get into the river. But can they do anything about this Dragon being taken? That is the big question. Willa going to move on over. Paranoia in hand. As Gideon is now moving down. Cease and desist is there. There's a seismic shove. The combo that they're looking for is Casting, standing on the blast cone, looking for a flank angle. It's kind of what he has to do. He was great at it in game number 1. Where is that bro? You know, that bro that was so coordinated, knew exactly what they needed to do.
This draft is really from behind, though. Like, you have the Talia Vi, you've got Weaver's Wall, but if you go in with these carries already as large as they are, whoever goes in just goes straight into a meat grinder and dies. You know, there's so much setup here for Aiming and UCal to say, thank you very much for coming into melee range of us. That's what we want at this point. Spell Shield available for Aiming. He's on 2 items, and they're going to try to get this Dragon. They will be successful. How do they escape? Okay, not going to see a commitment here from Q and KRX, as Frog wasn't here, didn't have teleport.
Yeah, at least that mid lane outer turret is still up and available, so they take away the Dragon, and they do manage to at least keep their outer turret alive as well. So that's something. But the gold lead has not changed, right? KRX is still in a great spot, as Andor just going to try and get pushed away here by Gideon. But even this Shen is pretty safe, getting very deep vision down here for KRX. And they are under no threat, right? As Bro are going to press the R button. There's a Pulverize onto Aiming as he's thrown out of the way. Does have on the hunt, though, so it's very hard to hit him with a seismic shove or keep him in a gravity field.
So a trade of ultimates for Talia and Nocturne on this one.
Yeah, they'll get the Ghost out of Aiming as well, so I guess there's that at the same time.
And the turret stays alive. If that turret goes down, this Nocturne gets even more powerful, even more scary for these immobile carries on the side of Bro. As Teddy, I don't know if he's going to be carrying anything with this build, but that's the thing about this draft too, is not only do Aiming and UCal do a lot of damage earlier than they're supposed to, I think, in this game, as the Arcangel's almost done. I mean, he's not like on 3 items, but he has so much setup with Aiming's damage layered with his. They also can't punish the Nocturne when he goes in because they're not doing that much damage themselves. It's double burn here for Roamer. What are you burning? You know?
Well, I mean, you know, Meganar has a lot of health.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Yeah, sure. I'll let it go.
There's something. But that's we're clutching at straws here just a little bit. Aiming is going to demonstrate a little bit of that as the Blackfire Torch from Teddy does burn him a little. But KRX just waiting around, making sure that they get control of this river. 3 minutes until another opportunity for Soul Point, and the Bros just going to have to try and deny it over and over again throughout the rest of this game. All right, Gideon was thinking about trying to do something here. And the Bros Wombo combo, it does exist. Like, it is a thing. They're going to need a few of them, though, if they're going to make something happen. I mean, I've seen what the champions have done in prior games. So I do understand that it's possible.
Would you say as far as in order to set up the combo, you have to be in range of a Vi ultimate or a seismic shove?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that seems to be a bit of a sticking point. That seems to be the kind of tricky part about it. Because I see what you're saying, because if you use the Vi ultimate, then the Talia's shove comes on top, and vice versa. If someone hits a shove, the Vi is just going to follow up with a charged Q into an ultimate, and that person's not going to have a good time.
If you get someone to land something at the beginning, generally it's pretty possible.
Now, consider there's a bunch of minion waves coming at you constantly because there's a Rise in one lane, there's a Sivir in the other, and it's hard to then deal with the minions first to then close the gap. Does it get a little bit harder to pull off that combo?
I would say yes, because then you probably don't get to be in the same lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I see the combo in my mind's eye. I can imagine it, but when I look at the game, I'm like, ooh, it seems pretty hard though. You know.
Yeah. I've seen all sorts of things in my mind's eye though, so honestly, it's a tough one. Gideon going to miss the Vault Breaker. And there's on the hunt. Paranoia comes down again. Decent pulverizes Andil in a bit of trouble. Aiming forced to flash away as the exhaust comes through. Another altered Shen is going to be Andal on the floor. Gideon gets out of the way of the Duskbringer as Willa getting pushed away from the fight. So 1-0 so far for the Bros.
They got
I guess
the
you
flash.
could say that it's positive.
Yeah, they got the flash out of both of the bottom duo as well. So no flash for aiming anymore, no flash for Andal. That's, that's how they won game 1. They get the aiming flash.
I saw 5 people together in the lane as well. So that means that it's possible for us to maybe get this combo to work.
I thought in this moment I was going to look silly because, KRX walked into combo range, but they didn't actually do the combo itself. It was just a really late ult here from Vi.
Oh, Romer is dead. Andal is going to get cut up by the Kolomik, but that is not an even trade. Mid lane for support.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They're getting some stuff though, They're getting these kills. They're buying some time. It's going to be 3rd item death cap for Teddy.
I'm trying to work out how Roma died.
Yeah, I'm still. It's
Colonel
I can't see
Colonel Mustard with the pipe
eye.
in the museum or something like that.
He has no ghost, no flash. Is he?
All right, here we are. We're gonna actually figure it out immediately.
That's not the combo right there. He just got Shen bonked. He got taunted after Yukao went on top of him there. And then casting shows up. So they also got the TP out of the Renekton. It's a multiple faceted win here for KRX as they're sieging up the mid lane. Frog's going in with an R set.
Yeah, well, he does find it onto 3. It's pretty big. Paranoia gets into the back line as, all right, Namgung did a decent job tanking them up, but he will still go down. And so there is the Wombo combo now on cooldown. The Bros still have some buttons left available. The Arcane Storm is there. The Weaver's Wall just came up now. As the Realm Warp comes in, Gravity Well comes down. It's a Shen delivery as Andal is going to help take down Roma yet again. But there goes Willa. Casting will get cut up, and now it's Ted the Aiming Show, whose ricochets will tear them apart. And yeah, they may not have had the ultimates, but they did have a right click from a Sivir.
Romer was, I saw that Rumble, people was like, did they throw? Am I about to have the sickest shove of all time? And then only the Shen comes out. And then the taunt is good. As we're going to go all the way back to the initial part of this. Frog has his Gnar in a perfect spot here, gets behind Namgung, who's trying to set up the flank there, gets the triple at a crazy angle. Very impressive stuff here. Initially, it's Namgung who's burst down, then they fight back to the Dragon, and then we see this Realm Warp attempt here from Yukao, and they're like, wait for it, and it's actually just a Shen. Goes straight onto Romer, so he can't be shoving really anybody in this exchange. And Casting is hoping he's big enough to get value out of that Q and the heal, but they have no retreat, and aiming just ricochets them down. And I think this is the beginning of the end of this game here for KRX. They've had so many advantages. They've had such a strong lead, but it hasn't translated into big team fight wins until now. And now it's Soul Point for Infernal Soul. So much map control again with all the wave clear. Rise Sivir has been picked so often in the LCK because of what it does for you in these slower game states, where you're, especially when your enemy team has dive, but they can't deal with the waves, and you have basically map hacks with all your minions everywhere, not to mention all the wards you have. I mean, look at the wards on the top side of the map around Baron.
It's anti-map hacks as well, right? Because you've got a Nocturne there as well.
Yeah.
So you can turn the lights out. You can make sure that the Bros can only see underneath their turrets, and therefore you have full access to the jungle, and the suffocation commences. And the Bros, yeah, the comeback mechanics for this composition just don't really work. You can see Roma here just trying to burn Yukao down with this couple of buttons, but it's looking
saddest trinket of all time.
Yeah. And all right, Vault Breaker gets Gideon out of there. But when Casting has to just be sitting here, like trying to back up his jungler who's trying to get some vision on a Baron, that the Bros are never going to be able to start. It's just a tough time as aiming cuts this minion wave down. And we'll now move on over. I think that they can just start this.
When Rise has, by the way, Crushers and Belt into double mage, it is broken.
Yeah, and he's got
fair.
Seraphs. I mean, this is he's a pretty tanky boy. As Will is still going to take a lot of damage from this Baron.
He's tankier than the Gnar, like basically factually.
Oh yeah.
Who's also building MR now on his third item, because guess what? Double mage.
Yeah, and the Renekton is probably not that scary at this point in the game. Does have a slight advantage, I guess. Gideon as well does have a lead. But it's the lead on aiming that is the most terrifying, and he is building towards his Infinity Edge. We'll have that one very, very soon. As I'm not sure what Gideon's doing in the Baron pit. Does manage to get out of there, though, as we check out Roma and Yukal just farming it out between one another. They did manage to burn down that cannon.
It's this. We've seen very few Weaver's Walls, right? We've seen very few Vi ultimates because there are no targets, there are no angles, there are no opportunities. Gideon has a GA.
Yeah.
So what?
I mean, he did just buy it. There's also a death cap on Teddy. That's something.
I mean, they do have the correct tools, but they can't see.
Yeah, that is the problematic part. Aiming now has level 16, so On the Hunt is maxed out.
He's almost got IE.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the gold he's getting everywhere. He's gold kinging again. God,
he does get that award quite often. As Teddy...
Keep your headset on, son.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was obviously hurting his ears in some way. Hopefully, he is now going to be feeling better. Maybe
pro gamers can't take that off. It's like taking off your helmet in space.
Yeah, you instantly die. That's what happens.
The Kesper refs will come down on you.
Like a vacuum.
All right,
Awesome.
well, this is a slow burn, but it doesn't get easier. It doesn't get better for Bro. Like, more items are coming through.
Infinity Edge is done. Yeah.
All right, you know, yesterday we did the whole thing where I kept saying, well, what if they catch Guma? What if they catch Guma? Eventually, maybe they'll catch Guma. Then eventually they did, in fact, catch and kill Guma.
What if they catch Aiming?
That could happen. He is very big. But also, if they just win one team fight, they get back map control, and then Talia Vi can play again. They can actually be oppressive. That GA will matter. They can use Weaver's Wall to siege and to cut people off and to control objectives. You know, all they have to do is win one team fight. If QM DRX make a big mistake, somehow, some way, then Bro are back in the driver's seat, like with a snap of your fingers. 5,000 gold will turn into, 3 or less, and then the advantage that is, and then, Bro can actually control the game and play this comp the way it's supposed to be played. I just don't think QM DRX are going to make that mistake. They look so practiced on this. I mean, aiming on Sivir doesn't matter what team he's on. He doesn't need communication to know what to do on this one.
Yeah, I mean, he has the donkey whistle. It's like the easiest communication. You just press your R button and you're telling people, we're going in. And in goes Andal. He's going to do it himself. My God, the damage. It's a decent shove, but Teddy is already dead. Willer is able to escape here as well. They're staying alive for a little bit longer than I was expecting, but aiming is safe. He cuts up the Renekton, picks up a double kill. Namgung is just going to die underneath this turret. Andal gets delivered. Actually, no. Namgung is going to survive. No steak dinner, but KRX will still be winning this game.
All right. That's it. Simple as that. Very straightforward game where Bro waited forever for QMDRX to make a mistake. They didn't. And if anyone watches this game and says, well, I guess Bro just didn't do anything, they rolled over and died, they really couldn't do anything in this game. That was the problem.
Well, as a three-man pulver, Namgung's dead. The Nexus turrets are also going to go down. It's 13-4. This was a complete shutout by QMDRX. And the Bros gonna have to try a bit harder in their next matchup.
A reverse sweep after a rough start by aiming on the Jhin, getting caught, flashing, dying, getting caught a second time without flash and dying, costing his team in a big way. Pops off on Ezreal, destroys Teddy in the matchup, and in this third game was just given such a long leash on the Sivir. My God, he had his role quest done, he farmed everything, and was a fountain laser in the mid game. And it's just not fair when you don't have vision to play your Vi Talia comp into something like this. Frog also with a big bounce back after a rough start in game one on the Ambessa. I think the whole story here for QMDRX was they ramped into this series really, really well. Everyone started having better performances. Everyone was looking better. But in game three, the draft was clean. They had a clear identity. And Hanjin Brion looked a little bit confused.
Oh, man. Yukal, every single time, he is ready with a new celebration.
He's definitely one of the front runners for PLM as well. We might be hearing from him on stage.
That could be. Wait, who would I give it to?
It's a really tough one because of the weird nature of the last two games.
It'd probably be Yukal. It'd probably be Yukal.
Cassiopeia game, even though he lost.
Yeah, he was the only one really playing in that one. Andal having a decent one there, but you can see definitely feeling like the battle is still ahead of them. This is also a very sad moment for the DN Supers, whose chances of play-ins, I think, may have just died.
It's still technically possible.
It is still technically
possible because right now they're only 5 games behind and they have 6 games left to play. Sorry, they have 7 games left to play.
All right, so if they lose their next one, though, they are definitely not even able to make it to play-in.
They are behind in game score right now by 20 games.
It is a large number.
So if they lose the next one, I think actually mathematically, even if they tie with KRX and Yongshimu are currently both on negative 13, they can't get 20 games.
Oh, but it's bottom 2.
That's true, yeah. That would be guaranteed.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
But either way, it's a little bit of a rough one.
Don't do math on stream, but yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. If not, then they can only lose one more, so it is already very, very dire. The Bros, though, not having the best time here. As they navigated their first draft quite nicely, I think things got a little bit awkward in the next ones. Frog having a great performance here, but wasn't punished with a blind Gnar pick at all, when there are a lot of things that can go into the Gnar quite effectively up and available. I think maybe it was KRX doing their homework well about what casting is actually able to play into the Gnar pick. Maybe hadn't demonstrated very much Tristana, very much ADTF or Varus or any of those things to be used towards the top side effectively enough in order to make that one worthwhile. As my goodness, even like the Willa damage diving in there on top of the Bros, cut them up like butter.
That early skirmish, right, was super impactful for getting them ahead. KRX just looked very, very confident with what they were setting up here. Yukao's just so good right now. Like, it's crazy like how consistent he has remained on this roster that's constantly changing around him.
Yeah, and he's also just such a positive force as well. So when you do get momentum in a series, Yukao will help you grow further forward. And aiming, doing massive amounts of damage on this Sivir, but was just given so much room in this game. It was ridiculous.
Perhaps unpopular, but I voted for him. He had an incredible Ezreal game, and in game 3, the game was all about him.
I mean, I think he's probably going to get it, but he wouldn't have got my vote if I had one.
The Jin game didn't do him any favors. Yukao will ultimately get it. 0 deaths across the wins on
Justice for Yukao's has been achieved here. They must have taken my vote into consideration, which didn't exist, so they didn't. I imagine it's probably a few spat votes over the aiming, though.
I was really conflicted because especially the Cassiopeia, like if you consider the loss game, it's like, man, of course it's you.
I mean, he had a 4-man, 5-man Petrifying Gaze even in that game that they lost. He was the only one really playing in that one, so having an undying performance and then the only performance probably means that by process of elimination, he just has the most performances so far.
Yeah, it was definitely going to be one of the 2 damage dealers here. You know, shoutouts to Andil, shoutouts to Frog bouncing back, but
bouncing because he's a frog. I get
hopping, leaping.
Yep, hopping back into and also, you know, he played a champion with an ability called Hop. We probably should have known that his Gnar was going to be able to find the angles, especially like that one in mid lane. It was really nicely done. So maybe KRX have actually finally found themselves a roster that they can settle on with Frog on the top side of the map, their newly acquired aiming in the AD carry position, and maybe this is going to be only up for them, which is definitely very bad news for any DNS fans, but also makes the Rise group very, very interesting. Though it is time for us to go towards an interview with Yukao, so here's TF the translation.
Thank you for the handoff, guys. This is here for the POM interview translation, joined by Yukao on the side of KRX. Congratulations. Hello, thank you. What a precious one win against Hanjun Brian. How do you feel? You know, with not much matches left, every single win we are so desperate for. And, you know, I was trying really, really hard today, and I'm happy that we're able to win. Of course, from our LCK dance machine, Yukao. Nice ceremony. What was the meaning behind that? Actually, during a team content shoot, to Just Jerk were the ones actually teaching us how to dance, and I was able to just kind of reenact that. Anything you would like to say to them? Thank you so much for teaching us such a nice dance, and you know, I'm gonna make use out of it from now on. KMDRX had a roster change. Aiming had to play right after joining, and you guys were able to win. And you actually played with him before, so maybe you had a smoother transition. So how was it? It's honestly been so long since I last played with him, and I was wondering, will I be able to adapt? But I was really happy to see him after a while, and he's such a great player, so I had no concerns. And you know, let's keep it up, Aiming. And between KMDRX and Hanjin Brion, it went the full distance since 2025, over 10 matches, and today was yet another 3-game series. So what gave you the edge today? I think it really was all about the resilience. I think that's what really helped us secure that victory today. And what are your thoughts on just always going the full distance? Yeah, we were talking about how we always end up playing 3-game series against Brion, and you know, I'm just really surprised. I'm kind of shocked that it happened yet again. And in Game 2, the enemy Lee Sin had immense pressure and presence, yet your gameplay really stood out. So what role did your Annie fulfill the best? I think with Annie, just being able to show up in those crucial moments maybe once or twice, that actually really made a difference. And yeah, it looks like you went no death in that game, and also no death in Game 3 as well. And your form has improved so much, so did you go through some special training for round 3? Yeah, I've just always had faith in, you know, the ceiling that my team had. So I think it's just all the effort and just the patience that really is showing up. And every win counts for rounds 3 and 4. So how do you plan to prepare for the remaining matches? I mean, from now on, Aiming's going to carry our team, so I'm just going to leave it up to him. And now that the first win of round 3 is secured, your next opponent is DN Supers. What is your mindset? You know, not only is our match against DN Supers is important, the rest of our matches will be just as crucial. So we're just going to try our best. And that is all from UCal, and back to the desk. Thank you.